up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to the show. Welcome to This Week in Wrestling. How is everything going? I'm doing okay. Well, we were gonna do this last night, but everybody was feeling like ass last night, so we decided to do it tonight. There's still one person that's feeling like ass or feels bad, and that is Gina. So I'm gonna say hi,
Yep,
Gina. How are you? Besides
I'm
being
doing
sick.
good aside from sickness.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday, and no, I was not hungover. I actually felt pretty good Saturday morning, but allergies really whooped my ass last night. I mean, bad. And then I just wanted to sleep. We actually went to bed rather early, like 10 o'clock. Woke up and I feel great. Sitting here watching football and playing with Wendy. She's almost walking.
Hmm.
But yeah. So how's everybody else doing? We got Bobbit, Trek, and the Canadian Basement. Dory might be here later. I don't know. Whatever. So how are you guys doing tonight? I know
Well,
you
fuck
all were
you,
feeling
first of all.
well, fuck you too.
I had a late term hangover because of you and your birthday.
Sorry.
Late term hangover.
It hit me like 10 hours later. I'm at work. I'm like, oh God, it's coming. It's coming for me, isn't it? I'll like start buckling, start shitting my pants.
It happens.
It happened, all right. Fucking bastard. I hope you had a good birthday.
I did. I enjoyed my birthday. It was one of the best birthdays I've had in probably 2 or 3 birthdays. I mean, I think the one birthday that I had was pretty fun. I think I had a hangover for that one. I didn't get out of bed till 3 in the afternoon, but whatever. I watched SmackDown before for my birthday. That's when I started drinking. I just said, I said, fuck it, I'm drinking during this shit. It wasn't bad, but we'll get into that. We're actually gonna start off Hell in a Cell.
Oh God.
Fuck yeah.
Because apparently, and we're just going to talk about it, and we're going to do the Dave Meltzer ratings. So apparently, the finish, and I read the finish as well, but I'm going to let Trek do it because he fucking was like, "Are we going to talk about alternate finish now? Are we going to?" It's like fucking dog and heat.
Look how hard he is in that image.
Know. So, what was the alternate finish, Trek, to Hell in a Cell between Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins? I almost called it Trek. Go ahead.
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt. So, go ahead.
So, they love their big bumps to come off the top of the cages.
I do.
So Bray Wyatt was going to take a major bump, and I guess he's going to land on the announcer's table, and then he was going to sit up all of a sudden and give Rollins the mandible claw.
He was going to
lose, which I
the
think is just
essentially he was going to lose the match by a count, or not even by a count out. It was like a no. Actually, it would have been a referee's discretion, which I call bullshit on.
Yeah.
All you people call me a dick rider. Go ahead.
I would have actually probably preferred that ending because at least the referee stoppage would have made sense.
Yes, referee stoppage. There you go. That's what
I would have preferred if he shot Bray Wyatt in the head with a shotgun.
I know.
At this point.
Right.
I mean, come on, man. The fucking guy is impervious to pain.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would have accepted it a bit more that way, too, I think.
Right. But then again, he pops up 2 seconds later and he still does the same thing. So,
they were fucked no matter what.
Still makes Bray Wyatt look like fucking...
Well, you know what, though? They're trying to make him into Mankind. And
I don't know what the fuck they're trying to make him into. Unwatchable is what they're trying to make him into.
I see a lot of similarities between what they're doing with Bray and what they did with Mankind. And Mankind, yeah, he was great. And he is still fucking legendary. But you can't repeat that with Bray Wyatt because the Fiend is not Mankind. The Fiend is a lot more menacing than Mankind was. You have to make him that way.
And I do want to say this. There's a lot of people on Twitter, and I was involved in conversations. It wasn't mean conversations.
Of course.
They were actually civilized. They were actually civilized conversations where I said, So you essentially, whatever, and then people are like, well, they had in a match where a guy was thrown off the top of the cage, and they were talking about Mankind. Little do people know that the match had not fucking started yet.
Right.
The match did not start until Mankind got into climb back up on the fucking rope or on the top of the cage and got choke slammed through the fucking cage. Undertaker jumped down and Mankind stood up and the bell rung. So the match itself lasted probably 10 minutes, but the whole rigmarole it lasted like fucking 20, 25 minutes.
Well,
15
and the thing
of it,
is,
15 of it was fucking Mankind laying on a fucking stretcher.
yeah, and the thing is, they're trying, like I said, they're trying to turn Bray Wyatt into Mankind, but you have to remember exactly how much damage Mankind took in a match like that. I mean, for fuck's sake, his tooth was sticking out of his nose.
I don't necessarily think they're trying to turn him into Mankind. They're trying to turn him into a hybrid of a couple characters, but they're still reaching in the nostalgia bag for it. I would have loved if this match started on the top of the cell, ended before the match began, so that we don't have to talk about the match at all. There's no winner or loser. It stops before it starts. Make it be the referee's fucking choice to end it, but then have him get up and literally beat the living Christ out of fucking Seth Rollins for 10 minutes. Just outside the ring, the match is already done. Let him ruin the fucking soul out of CrossFit genius. Genius.
I'm gonna disappear the screen for a second. Just hold on.
All right,
but you guys can continue to talk. I just wanted to let you know. Go ahead. Continue to talk.
That's what I would have preferred. I mean, what they went with was fucking bullshit. Everybody hated it. I don't know anybody that's actually. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple people that are like, "Oh, it's pretty good," but like what in the literal fuck was that? He comes out, he gets obliterated for 20 minutes, and then he starts basically making Seth Rollins get his first period from his mouth.
Right.
Yeah. I couldn't see half this stuff anyway because the damn lighting was so bad.
Oh yeah,
that lighting was awful.
Why the fuck was it red?
I don't know.
It feels like hell. We want red everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that the red cell itself was horrible last year with Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton, but Jesus Christ, this was on a whole another fucking level.
Yeah, it was. And I don't like the red cell, and I did not like the lighting. It gave me a fucking headache. When I looked away from what I was watching on TV and I look at the chat or whatever, my eyes were all fucking blurry. I did not like, and that's why I didn't like it. I wouldn't have minded it if they did it for the first match, probably.
Yeah. I legit thought they forgot.
They may have. They may have. WWE's known to fucking do that kind of shit. Hey, Dory, what's going on? Thanks for joining us. We're just talking about what happened at the beginning of Hell in a Cell, the alternate finish to it, and then we started talking about, Mankind getting thrown off the top of the cell by Undertaker and how the match had not officially started yet. So, because there was people on Twitter saying, there's people on
so
Twitter
that was
saying,
supposed to happen with this match, but for some reason they went with a different direction. Which in the end, I mean, it's kind of splitting hairs. Yeah, one is a bit more acceptable than the other, but they're both unacceptable. The match should have never happened. Bray Wyatt died as quickly as he was born.
Well, the thing is, I'm sorry, Dory, but the thing is, you said that the match should have never happened. I completely agree, but they're still fucking continuing the storyline from it.
And it makes no sense because one's on one and one's on the other, but we'll get to that.
No. Because I seen on Instagram today that The Fiend is on SmackDown. He is not on Raw anymore.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly.
That's what he was saying.
Yeah, that's what he just said.
So I don't know how they're going to continue the storyline because
it's going to be a one and done at Crown Jewel.
I hope so.
Mm-hmm. I heard Survivor Series.
I don't give a literal fuck because they're the same show for me, both equally terrible.
I just don't like how they're trying to make him the next Mankind. Literally to
That's what I said.
I don't think they are exactly because Mankind
give him the same friggin' move.
Yeah, that's saying because Alexa Bliss uses a DDT, she's the next Jake the Snake Roberts. It's not a fair comparison.
But it's also
the thing is.
Sorry, go ahead. No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, for me, it seems like they're kind of mixing him, like, Mankind with Kane.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mankind Kane or Mankind Undertaker and anybody else they tried to do the supernatural bullshit with. Mm-hmm. It's just, unfortunately, it's just one nostalgia act after the other. Make him his own character. He's proven to be his own character. Right. Run with that. Give some trust to the fucking guy because he obviously can pull it off.
I mean, they gave him trust in the because he had a lot to do with the Firefly Funhouses and all the promos that he does. Vince let him do his thing. That being said, they won't let him do whatever he needs to get his character. You know what I mean? In the ring.
Yeah. What I think is weird is that you want to build him up as this like dark and menacing character when he's a fiend, but then you keep having him come out of nowhere and be like, "Surprise, I'm here!" and then attacking people.
No, it doesn't make sense. If he's basically Terminator, why is he hiding in the shadows? You've got two very different characters on your hands, also sharing the same body.
Here's Freddy Krueger, but he's hiding behind a bush.
Well, Freddy Krueger was kind of a bitch the whole time. I'm gonna come get you.
I'm gonna get you when you're sleeping.
But this guy took sledgehammers to the face and everything, and nothing phased him. So he's T-1000, but hides in the shadow. That's why T-1000 was such a good character because he knew he was as strong as he was. He was straight on attack constantly. Brock Lesnar is that kind of character when they first built him in WWE. It doesn't work to have him one way in one aspect and one way in the other. So his character doesn't really make any sense.
I really think the only thing that they can do at this point is have him kind of disappear for a couple weeks.
They ain't going to do that because right now he's money to them. That's all he is to them, and that's all he ever will be.
Have him disappear for 2 weeks before now and Halloween then.
So, but that's when he'll go away.
So I'm so frustrated with the fact that a lot of the online wrestling community, whatever you want to call them, this was their breaking point. It's like the writing was on the wall a month ago, even probably further than that this was going to be a shit show. But you had to wait to see it, even though you knew what you were going to see. And all the people out there, they're like, he should have won the title. What? Okay, give him the title, and then you have Brock Lesnar on SmackDown with a championship. You have Bray Wyatt, who he can be shot to death and live. He's Jason with a title. Like, who is beating these two guys?
I don't know.
And does anybody want to see both of that at the same time?
No. I don't know what they're doing, and like I called it at the beginning, ultimately everybody knows where they're going with this. He's just going to become Bray Wyatt.
Well, the thing is like, don't get me wrong, I'm usually Mrs. Positivity when it comes to content, but even I have no, I can't even picture this working out at this point.
I mean, I still like the Firefly Funhouse segments and stuff when he's just like Bray Wyatt, because he plays that like borderline psychotic very, very well. But like with the Fiend aspect of it, they're failing miserably.
So he is a more focused version of what Bray Wyatt was. Bray Wyatt had like the mystique of that character, but fucking just spoke gibberish 90% of the time. Well, now when he's on the mic, he's very much more calculated in what he's saying, and it works that much better. And in all honesty, like, you can really do anything with him at this point. You can say the Fiend is a failed version of one of his characters and come up with another. Yeah, it's going to kill it. It's already dead, but like they can go in other places where the casual fan will be like, I love it.
But you know what? Like, when Bray Wyatt was part of like the Wyatt family, like when he first came out, they hit fire with that too, and they killed it. Like when he first, I remember going to Raw in 2014 when he like first came onto the scene, as like the Wyatt family. That whole arena loved him. And like all of his promos and all that shit. So it's not a factor of him. It's fucking WWE killing all of his characters.
It's I mean the thing is, I look at the character of the new version of Bray Wyatt and the Fiend as a step in the right direction for the actual person that Bray Wyatt is in terms of his wrestling growth, because he's growing as a character to be more concise in what he's saying. And if his character is going to be cold, calculating, and crazy, he's hammering it down that much more. Where now I can listen to what he says on the Firefly Funhouse and find out the meaning behind what he's saying, which I think is a really cool idea. And most wrestling doesn't have that much depth anyway. But Bray Wyatt was just like, he'd get on the mic and fucking say a bunch of fucking retarded shit and go away.
Can I ask this question? Well, it's not really a question. It's kind of, what do you guys think? Don't you think that the Bray Wyatt, both versions of Bray Wyatt, isn't this WWE saying, okay, we will give you what you want, but we're not going to give you what you want because we want to tell our own story. We're going to tease you. And yes, you can fault WWE, but don't you think that this could be on the fans saying, give us Bray, give us Bray, give us the Fiend, give us the Fiend. And then they give it to them, and then...
I don't think that's a really petty move, and it's probably like...
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is...
a lot of money.
What I'm saying, because Vince has done this before, where he has somebody in mind, and he did it with Lex Luger. Lex Luger, before Vince really found out that he sucked in the ring, he could cut a promo, but once he started wrestling, he wasn't world champion material. Do you think Vince got cold feet? I mean, I know he put the title on Bray once before, but his title reign really wasn't that great.
I don't think that this is a factor of like Vince getting cold feet with Bray or anything. I think this is a factor of WWE started listening to the fans the fans were like, we want Bray, and instead of just like slowly giving us more and more and more like what they should have done, they just gave in to the fans and started giving us more of him.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
I don't think so.
Don't you think that the fans can kind of take the blame for? I would have much rather had Bray Wyatt.
I don't think this is like necessarily a fan problem. Like he was getting over and hugely over with the fans, but I think this is a problem.
But this was a rush to booking because of the fans.
No, I think it was a rush booking because of October. That's true. 100%.
I agree.
Capitalizing
with that, on fans. But if you look on fucking, and this is why the fans are like, this is the last straw. Going back to the last straw thing. Vince got cold feet.
I think it was mostly reactionary.
No, that's okay. I'm just going to say, Vince got cold feet. He's like, can't do this yet. We got to figure a way out of this, which this was the way that they figured to get out of it.
They wanted to use him in October without propelling him the way they want. They tried to have their cake and eat it too with Bray Wyatt, and it's just not going to work. You can't use him for the month of October and get him over in that way when he's already over, and people want either him to be champion or him to disappear for a bit and come back with another opponent in some other secretive way. The long game was the exact game they needed to choose with Bray Wyatt, and it's the game they stayed away from, which sucks because the writing was the long game for his character, but then his fucking actual debut was like, all right, he's alive, he's dead, let's call it.
Well, and the thing is with the fans, it's like, okay, take the fans that were like, he should have won that title, blah, blah, blah. These are the fans that don't actually think as if they were actually working for a wrestling company. Because if Bray Wyatt won that title, what now?
Yep, exactly. And that's my thing with the fans and their, this is the last straw. Why? Well, Basement said it. Why is this the last straw? Fuck, they did this last year.
I was much more upset with Brock Lesnar losing to Seth Rollins than I was with The Fiend losing to Seth Rollins. Because Seth Rollins is literally unstoppable force. So at this point in time...
I'm sorry, Basement. Go ahead.
No, fuck it. I don't care who Seth Rollins fights. He should beat everybody.
Well, and for me, it wasn't even that like Bray lost or the way that the match ended, because I knew it was going to end like that. They booked themselves into a corner. That was the only ending that it could be. So I knew it was going to be that. It was just a matter of like how they executed it, because like, okay, the ref stops it because he's supposedly so fucking bad off after that sledgehammer that he can't continue the match. And then immediately, as soon as the bell rings, he turns around. There's like a 2-second fucking gap between that. But then he turns around and he puts the mandible claw on Seth.
But the visual storytelling was terrible.
It was
Nobody
awful.
knew what was happening. Everybody's like, oh, it's they're calling the match. Oh, it's a DQ. Like, if you don't tell us what we're seeing, you have failed. Especially in a wrestling company, they should know visual storytelling is key. It's everything for wrestling. Yep. If I can't hear somebody, what the fuck? I don't care what they're saying.
Yeah, like it now. If Bray Wyatt, if he would have been, I don't know, if they would have showed him bleeding or something, then the ref stoppage would have made sense. But they didn't even show Bray Wyatt. Like, they were panned on Seth and the ref, and all of a sudden the ref is ringing the bell. He didn't even, like, he turned around and looked at Bray for like 1 second. And then all of a sudden he's ringing the bell. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
You know, the savior for this match, in my honest opinion, would be, say you take the way it ended and Bray Wyatt doesn't respond, but then comes out and hits him with the mandible claw. Then he drags him up to the top of the cell and he throws Seth Rollins off the top of the cell. And Seth Rollins is now a battered, broken man, and you have to play it that way on the following Raw. And you have to have a moment where Bray Wyatt comes out and he says, it was never about the champion, in his cryptic way. It was never about the championship. It was about hurting those that wronged me.
Right.
I get behind that pretty quickly.
Yeah, or even having a quick little, I don't know, let's say like 5-10 seconds, whatever. Have Seth walk up the ramp. Have him fucking, do his thing, pandering to the crowd, whatever. Hit the fucking lights. Like, have the camera on Bray 1 second and then hit the lights, and then like 2 seconds later have Bray disappear, but then 2 seconds after that have him reappear and fucking attack Seth and do some of what Basement was talking about. It doesn't even have to be all of it, just something that makes sense.
Well, I think it has to be. Here's the thing: if you end the match with him getting the fucking kitchen sink thrown on his head and then a sledgehammer to the face, he's got to do something that ups the ante. Because if his game plan was to destroy Seth Rollins and he literally just sat in the ring and got sledgehammers to the head and then just mandible claws him, I call bullshit on that. I look at that match and fucking Bray Wyatt took all of the damage, and I don't buy the bleeding from the mouth bullshit, because fuck that garbage. I know it's a blood capsule. Throw him off the cell. Make Seth take a huge hit. Unfortunately, but it is what it is.
I don't know. I wouldn't have had the match at all.
I know, but if you have to salvage it, there's better ways to salvage it than what we saw.
Oh, I agree.
I think, in my opinion, and sorry, I just have to say this, and then actually have to hop off. I think the little one's up.
Okay.
I think everything WWE's been doing in the last 2 months is just reactionary to what's going on in the wrestling business. I don't think it has anything to do with giving us what we want or thinking of storylines. They're just trying to react to kind of counteract what's going on.
React.
I think that's everything.
React. Just before you go, react to who or what?
To what is being created in content.
From
to battle them.
Who? By
like for them. They're worried, I think. Like, obviously, it's not a big
WWE in no way, shape, or form is worried. If they were worried, they wouldn't have done what they did.
I'm not.
Here's the thing, though. I think they have to keep up the quality of content or do something that's going to knock people's socks off. With not only AEW, but with NXT also debuting on the network, they're kind of fighting their own self in a way. Yeah. And Raw really, and that was a Raw main event, really needed something, because that product is fucking dying in the water. And they did not deliver. But I think if you look on a lot of people that have probably reviewed it or said anything, it's like, how long do you see WWE getting away with bookings like this before it's a problem for them? And I'm not saying AEW is going to turn into this monster overnight, but man, you keep fucking this shit up and turning fans away, and they have other options, and that includes your own company.
Yep.
You still don't want one of your products to be a pile of shit. It's like if I'm a network, do I want a shitty show because I have a good show? No, I want both shows to be good.
They want buzz and they want shock value, and they're getting it in the wrong way.
Yeah, that I can agree.
It's definitely a moment. It's moment and shock value booking, and that's because they didn't know what the fuck to do. And I'm just surprised that match is continuing at all.
That's WWE show.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, guys, but I hope you have a good rest
It's
of your
all right,
night.
Dory. Thanks for being on for the short
Hi,
time
Dory.
that you were.
Happy,
Thank you for your
happy
input.
Thanksgiving, basement.
You too.
Hope you guys.
Yeah, have a good Thanksgiving.
Have some good turkey, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Bye, guys.
Good night, Dory.
Night, Dory.
Bobbin, what about you? What did you think? What do you think? And then we'll move on to the Dave Meltzer. Well, actually, I want to get Trek Fest, but Dave Meltzer. We'll move on to Dave Meltzer thing in a second. Bobbin, what do you think about what we've been talking about?
Just about Hell in a Cell in general?
Yeah, just about that match. We're just talking about.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I couldn't watch half of it because it was hurting my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, it was literally a fucking huge shit show. Like the match should have never happened.
So
Bray should have never been in that position. And what the fuck? So one hammer's okay, but the other one isn't.
I agree with you. It doesn't make sense. I didn't think the red shit hurt my eyes. It was just an unneeded distraction to the match, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like, it distracted me more than it invested me in the match. Because it's like, out of nowhere, it's red now.
Yep. Yep. Trek, what about you? You're the one that wanted to talk about this. You were like a dog in heat when you asked me when I got on the call. Go ahead.
Considering what the ending we did get, I would have rather have seen the other one. And dumb as it would have been to have him sit back up after taking a bump and give him the mandible claw. I liked your idea better that he drags him to the top of the cell and throws him off too, and then he leaves him broken and battered. And it's like, but then of course they couldn't have him show up on SmackDown because then they had to do the match with Reigns for the first run. But they could have had someone else
do that match.
No, I know. And then not only that, but by the end of that match, it turned into a friggin' Looney Tunes cartoon because that's all that I saw was Daffy Duck just piling stuff over and over and over.
It was like Wile E. Coyote actually getting a hold of the Roadrunner.
It was produced by Acme. And for what reason, God knows what. But I feel like, yeah, I'm with you, man. Bray Wyatt could have... The only way to book that match after you created it was to have Bray Wyatt lose through nefarious means, and then just not counting him out, but just not disqualifying him, but no contesting it. And then you had to have Bray Wyatt literally almost kill Seth Rollins. Otherwise, his character's dead.
Yep.
Right, but then they were like, well, now we can't have him facing Roman Reigns for the first pick of the draft. Like, you have 10 million other people.
Why? It doesn't even make sense.
I know.
You've got the champion versus the not champion. Like, what the fuck? Why are these the two people picked?
It was because they did that because they thought it was going to be a big draw match because they're the Shield.
It should have been Becky Lynch
versus
fucking Charlotte.
No, actually, what it was, they are the two top drawing superstars for their respective shows in a way.
Right.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like most of the audience doesn't
when he went to that when he went to that house show, all of Roman's merchandise was sold out.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't like this move for them with Roman Reigns, and I didn't like what they did with this whole match at all.
I agree.
No, I'm with you. All right, Bob. I know you want to do this.
Did you get Trek?
Trek? Yeah, he just talked.
Oh, this is Meltzer. This is Meltzer greatness.
Let's listen to I actually looked at these and I kind of agree with them.
Every time I hear the word Meltzer, I think it's probably like a very tasty sandwich.
The tuna Meltzer.
I'll have the Meltzer.
I'll have the Meltzer. What's on the Meltzer? Roman's dick. Anyway.
Actually, it would be the Young Bucks stick.
But yeah, it's true. And Cody Rhodes.
But
anyway,
but
he kind of has to do it because they sold out All In and he looks like a fucking idiot. So now he's gobbling their cock. So, all right, Bob, let's get these fucking glorious ratings out in the open here.
I don't even remember most of Hell in a Cell except for the end.
Alrighty. Lacey Evans versus Natalia. 2.25 stars.
There's no way.
What? 10 stars.
I would give that.
I actually didn't even see this match, so
yeah, it wasn't that good. It's 1 point. It's probably a 1.75, if that.
I didn't see it.
It wasn't that great. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sasha versus Becky.
Hold on. Wasn't that a last man standing match? Last woman standing match?
No, that was
that was the next night. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that was Raw.
Go ahead.
It's okay.
Sasha versus Becky. 4 stars.
It was the best match on the card.
Yeah. Still haven't seen it.
I actually agree with that.
It's actually a pretty good match for a women's match in a Hell in a
Whoa!
It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. They beat the hell out of each other.
Actually, that was my favorite match of the night. They literally did beat the hell out of each other.
It probably would have been mine if I saw it.
I wouldn't. I don't know if I give it 4 stars, but I give it a high 3. A high 3. Go ahead, Bobby.
All right, Daniel Bryan and the Big Dog versus Roland Harper. 4 stars.
My problem is it should not have been 4 stars. It was a good match, but the ending made no sense.
Okay, here's the problem. They basically killed a 2-month storyline to say, yeah, what we showed you is exactly what we had planned. It was going to be Eric Rowan all along.
But here's my question. Mm-hmm. Was there ever any news brought out about why Daniel Bryan collapsed on the top of the stage?
No.
Not that I heard.
He just liked the ground a lot.
Unless he was selling.
It wasn't a bad match or anything. This whole storyline I fucking hate. I think it was one of the worst storylines in 2019. We spent way too much time to complete Eric Rowan. Literally, what the fuck? That's like you find out fucking the person that ran over fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin was Gilbert.
Right.
Well, but I mean, we really don't know.
Same kind of thing.
I mean, I have to say this. We really don't know what Eric Rowan can actually do because we've never seen him showcased. Hold on. We've never seen him showcased by himself.
I've seen him.
I mean, he's been showcased in a tag team. He's been showcased as part of the Wyatt family, but he was never showcased by himself.
Okay, well. I'm going to tell you, you're probably going to be disappointed. He's got a huge ass, though. I'll give you that.
I am in no way, shape, or form for this storyline whatsoever. I don't like Eric Rowan, but I'm just saying we really don't know what he's capable of. Like Luke Harper, I didn't know exactly what he was fucking capable of until they put him in a tag team, and then they fucking I was you blew me away.
Run. He had an IC run. He's solid. I'd say Eric Rowan reminds me a lot of Jinder Mahal. So that's the way I look at both of those guys.
Okay, that's fair.
In terms of they're both fucking shit.
I just don't see Eric Rowan, and if Eric Rowan's beat him anyway, I just don't know.
What was the storyline, man?
Exactly.
It's gotta be. Daniel Bryan has to be behind it, but even if that happens, it makes no sense.
And I think they kind of had to fucking do something because. Well, we'll get into it because this is fucking trash.
The whole reason for that entire storyline was not only to get Roman more over with the crowd, but it was to turn Daniel Bryan back face.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was to use the face turn for Daniel Bryan to give Roman the rub. Roman's getting his fucking dick polished time and time again, and people just don't really see it that much.
Because
they're not pushing their main event.
But they're trying their best to hide it. But the guy's been getting his fucking cock rubbed for months now.
He is being shoved down our throats, and
well, you know what? They got me for a while. I'm more of a Roman fan than I was before.
It's being cloaked, and look, it's being cloaked. And I'm not saying that his cancer was fake, everybody. All right, so don't fucking go. Oh, JP said this. No, JP didn't say this. His cancer was real, but the only reason that people are cloaking it, so to speak, is because of that. And it's just he's over. Because
they use it as a reset.
He's never not going to be over anymore. Unless,
but I think that not only just with the cancer thing, but I think a lot of the reason why he's over is because he's not part of the main events. Yes, they're still pushing him, but he is not a big main eventer anymore. That was what pissed everybody off because he was constantly getting title shots.
He should be, though. I agree with the fact that they haven't pushed him in a main event, but they still built half the show around the guy regardless. He still has the same amount of TV time he'd have if he was in the main event. And it's kind of for like, what the fuck? And if I look at it now and I'm thinking they're just basically using they're using Daniel Bryan again as a tool to accomplish what they want to do with Roman Reigns, which kind of sours me on him a little bit. I was warming up to Roman Reigns for a while there, where I didn't see through the fucking whatever, visage of like ridiculous or mirage of what they were trying to do. I didn't see through it, but now it's become a bit more obvious, and it kind of I like him more than I did, but now it's kind of at that stalled point.
For me, it all comes down to, because I watched that special with Roman after he came back with his cancer, and it all comes back down to what he said. He literally said that he told Vince he does not want to be the main event guy anymore. He just wants to be mid-card.
Now, I'm not saying that guy. I'm telling you right now.
I'm not saying that they won't push him towards the main event. But what I loved about that is the fact that they are no longer. He's not in every fucking title match anymore.
But like, do you know what? In what way do you think he was not scripted to say that?
Well, first of all, that was a documentary about just like him.
Documentaries are scripted just as much as regular
shit. They're scripted. Hey, listen, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, why do you think people are fucking hating on Seth now? Because Seth is winning all the fucking time. He's constant.
Very poorly.
So was Roman. That's
Roman actually, I think, was booked a bit better than Seth Rollins, in my honest
opinion. But that's my point, though. But okay, hold on. My point is, Seth Rollins is getting all the hate right now because he's winning matches that he shouldn't be winning. He's freaking in the title contendership or ownership all the time, just like Roman used to be.
For me, it's his character. Seth Rollins' character makes less sense than Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was obviously booked as Superman, but Seth Rollins was booked for so long not as Superman to then eventually just become him overnight. Right. And I don't know. It's just they are similar. I will give you that. They are similar. But I think Roman Reigns was a bit more palatable as the John Cena-esque than Seth Rollins. Because Seth Rollins is just like, I can't stand listening to the fucking dude.
I agree. But if you think back to 2014 time frame, okay? Back when Seth was with Stephanie and Triple H and all them, they were pushing him the same way that they're pushing him now. He had the title. He was in all the big main event matches and all the shit. He would never lose.
They're doing Seth Rollins. Well, they booked him right then.
Seth Rollins, when he was with the, I guess the fucking company or whatever you want to call it, he was with the Authority. He had a character, and he was a company man.
Right.
Now he doesn't have a character. His wife has a much bigger character, and he's in her shadow. And that's what I see.
That's why I'm hating on him so much now, because it's like they're trying to recycle his popularity or how good he was during like the Authority time without having the Authority, and they're trying to do it with when he's face. And that just don't fucking work.
No, because the only way that they could reignite that is if he was a heel.
You know what would be great? If he actually fought a heel, because the last person he fought was one of the most over people in the fucking company. Yep. And no matter how that match went, people were going to boo Seth Rollins.
Yep.
Like this is the exact same thing they did with his first title run. It's like you build this guy up to put him in a position to fail time and time again. And it's not necessarily on him, just like it's not necessarily on Bray Wyatt, just like it wasn't necessarily on Roman Reigns. It's just wrong time, wrong place for everybody. Roman Reigns had the capability to be, yes, the face of the company, and he still does, but he needed a heel run so bad and they never gave it to him, and in favor of him getting sick and coming back as another face. It's just every single wrestler should have the opportunity to have a good heel run earlier in their career, just so they can get the confidence of how to speak to him like playing an actual character. Easier to be an asshole than it is to be a fucking friendly giant.
All right, Bobbit. So what was next? I know we went off talking about that shit for about an hour, but that's fine. It's whatever. That's what we do here. Bobbit, what's the next match? Where'd you fall asleep on this?
Somebody yell at him. Bobbit! Fuck.
Jesus Christ.
Bobbit!
Bobbit.
Well, that's nice.
So
All
what
right.
was the next match anyway? What match were we
All
on?
right, guys.
Oh, Jesus Christ. There
What's
you go.
up?
Ready for the next
Ready
one?
for the
Next
next
match, man.
Next match: Ali versus Randy Orton. 3.25 stars.
It was okay.
See,
It's okay.
that one I would have probably given it at least a 3.5 just for fucking Ali's counter to the RKO. Like, even Orton was fucking floored with that one.
Yeah, but I do like Randy Orton's response to that though. He got it on him anyway.
Yeah, he did get it on him anyway, but like I know afterwards, like even Orton took to Twitter and he showed the video and he's like, I've never seen anybody do a counter to an RKO like this. He said he actually gave Ali props. He's like, props to fucking Ali because this is insane.
Well, props to Ali because he got his ribs bashed in and kept going.
You know what? I have so much respect for that dude. It's not even funny. Like,
yeah, if you didn't,
he's probably one of my favorite superstars.
If you didn't do that flippy shit, I'd be alright.
I like his like actual personality. The guy
I love
is
his
very
promos on Twitter.
He's pretty positive and he's a fun guy, but he's okay with me. It's okay in me. I love you, Ali. Are you all in my ass?
Yeah, I would have probably gone 3. I don't know about 3.25. Randy Orton's matches bore me anymore.
Yeah, he's never really gonna. Randy Orton match is never gonna really surpass that 3.5 mark. It was the best Randy Orton match I've seen in a while, and he wrestled Kofi Kingston for the last 17 years.
In fact, that match is still going on. They're both still laying in the middle of the ring. What?
They're running the second half of the marathon.
And they're wondering what happened to the fucking title.
By the way, I saw an article today that said Orton, that people are convinced from Forbes that they're convinced that Orton's leaving for AEW. I'm like, he's not leaving.
Yeah, he'll never leave WWE.
Randy Orton will never leave WWE.
I could give less of a cock about where Randy Orton goes at this point in time. I've seen the best that can really.
I could give 2 fucking shits where anybody fucking goes. I don't fucking care.
Randy Orton will never leave WWE.
But I also don't see Randy Orton making huge difference to AEW. He's such a WWE guy. Like, I can't see it happening.
Yeah, his entire family legacy is within WWE. I mean, he's 3rd generation superstar. So yeah, and not only that, but WWE treats him fucking really well.
Exactly.
So
he could probably disappear for 6 months, and people are like, "That's all right." Like,
he has disappeared for 6 months, and people
that's because he took out the garbage and destroyed his whole body.
Yeah.
Next match there, Bobby.
Alrighty. Alexa and Nikki versus the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah.
2.25 stars.
It's alright. I mean, it told the story. I liked what happened in the match. I would have only given it 2 stars because. Here's my one question about Alexa Bliss, and she is trash in the ring. When she she likes when she's got somebody in the corner, like Nikki Cross just full on goes in and fucking clotheslines somebody. Alexa Bliss runs, stopped, and then slaps. It's like, what the fuck is that?
It's her character, which is terrible.
Here is my question. I have seen videos of Alexa Bliss training down in the Performance Center on her time off. Where the fuck is that Alexa Bliss in the ring?
Me and Heather said that on the show.
Her character limits her horribly.
Yeah, but the thing is, the shit that I've seen her doing in the Performance Center videos, they fit a heel or a face character.
No, but you got to remember, WWE, as long as you're like one of the mainstays of WWE, they will limit your move set so that they can sell toys.
Yep.
Well,
That's literally it. That's literally
well, not only that,
man.
but I think that they're kind of limiting what she can do anyway because she's kind of accident prone.
Yep.
I think it has a lot more to do with like how they're gonna market her because she's obviously over with the majority of people that
basement.
Yeah,
I think she's actually holding back a little bit because she's scared she's gonna get hurt again.
I don't think it's a factor of like she's scared. I think it's just
toy money.
They kind of well, it's toy money, yeah, but they kind of also limited her after her last concussion because she is a huge money maker for the company. Whether you like her.
So why do they limit so many other wrestlers and what they can do? Why is Finn Balor limited? Why are so many other wrestlers turned into
because they're
what I'm
popular
going to call
characters, and if they get injured, then merchandise is not going to sell.
I don't think it's just injury. It's just they understand that John Cena got over because his moves, unfortunately, became moments in a match. Just like The Rock, and The Rock started this, and so did Stone Cold. This is started in the Attitude Era, even before this. This was started a long time ago, where that moment where people knew the leg drop was coming, or people knew the people's elbow was coming, or people knew the stunner was coming. They realized WWE is more about moments than anything else. So they turned their actual wrestling characters into moments to keep the fan base involved in it. And it to that level where she's going to have 5 moves. It doesn't matter what she can do. It matters about how they can control the audience watching an Alexa Bliss match.
Right. I agree. I agree. But I just wanted to point out that slap thing. Like she runs and it looks like she's actually going to do a clothesline. She stops and then just slaps. Like, what the fuck is that? Do it in one fluid motion. I don't care if you're not going to do a moveset, but come on, you're not going to hurt yourself slapping somebody. Just walk up and slap her. Don't do a running jump and stop and then slap. You look stupid.
Yeah.
Like an asshole.
Well, I don't really care too much about her characters per se at this point because she's dead to me anyway, but why does this win happen now? Paige isn't there. They should have won it before. They did nothing with them as tag champs. It doesn't really make sense.
I don't know.
But I really, really liked how they got the win. Like they turned Asuka heel.
I
don't know if they turned her heel.
They might have. They may have because this character that they're having her do at this Mist, she did in Japan.
Well, Tajiri, you remember him? He was not really necessarily a heel or a face. People loved him, but he did the Mist.
Basement. But if you got to think about what happened on SmackDown, because they came out and they were basically making fun of not only the two in the ring, but the crowd as well in Japanese.
They were.
Well, I have no idea what they were saying in Japanese because I was not given any way to understand them.
So they basically turned the Kabuki Warriors heel.
But
because if anytime that you bring any superstar out and they're like giggling and all this stuff to themselves and they're speaking a language that is foreign to most of your viewers, that's a pretty good sign that they're fucking heel and they're talking shit.
It honestly, that turn I didn't understand or get really at all.
Right.
And I like that's just because that's a failure in WWE for not having the commentators give us some clue. It's like, I don't know what they just said, but here they are. Like, what the fuck? Neither does 90% of the people watching this shit.
I know, and I never thought I'd say this at all, but the way, we'll get into it, the Bailey heel turn that they did on Friday.
Talk about that in a minute. Bobbit, moving on.
Alrighty. The OC versus the Viking Raiders and brown ass Blowman. 1.5 stars.
Yeah, I agree. I cannot disagree.
Viking Raiders are dead. They're going to be the next fucking. What were their faces? I can't even remember their names now.
Eric and Ivar.
No. Who they're going to become?
Heavy Machinery.
No.
ATA.
No. They came out kind of imitating Legion of Doom.
Oh, Ascension.
Are they still with the company?
Yes.
Yes.
As far as I know, yes.
They're going to be them. Unfortunately.
The only thing that I liked about this match was the ending where like Braun pretty much knocked AJ's clock. Because that was actually a legit hit. Like that was a knockout hit. You could see like AJ, his face. You could tell.
Yeah, I don't even know if I really paid attention during that match because
I don't think I saw 90% of it. I will say, as soon as I saw the Vikings, I thought they were wrestling like just another fucking squash match.
Right. Bobbit, next match.
Shorty G versus Baron Corbin, 1.25 stars.
And that was a disqualification.
Can we just stop fucking calling him Shorty G?
No, because
his name now.
Shorty, whatever.
That's what he is now.
It's Shorty Gable, which is the stupidest fucking thing I ever. Whoever named this guy, I would fire immediately on the spot.
Okay, and I understand that again, but if he came out and he said or whatever, he said you can call me whatever you want. I don't care. So they called him Shorty Gable. Everybody just started calling him. Because he don't care.
I call him Baron Corbin, and then it'd be confusing.
It would be.
I feel like Chad Gable, there is like such a fucking missed opportunity with that guy. Like there really is. Like just his athleticism.
It's the WWE thing. They're definitely not going to capitalize on him.
They can't do anything with this guy.
I mean, legitimately, like if they would have acting lessons and shit, this guy could be like the next fucking Kurt Angle. Like he's that fucking good.
He misses too many marks by a small bit. Like he's a bit too short and he's a bit too terrible on the mic.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why acting lessons come into play. But Jesus Christ, there's just so many even Kurt Angle himself has said there's so many similarities between himself and fucking Chad Gable.
Well, there's a difference between him and Chad.
But the thing is, Kurt Angle has natural charisma, and Shorty G-Spot doesn't.
Actually, he doesn't have natural charisma. If you ever watched the Kurt Angle story, they actually had to work with him in order to get him to that point.
He was at that point pretty goddamn quick when he came in. Even though he was like a pompous asshole, he still had obvious charisma.
JP, what are you saying?
Oh, I was just going to say, with Kurt Angle, the big difference between him and Chad Gable is I don't know if Kurt Angle picked up what WWE or how professional wrestling was, like, really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Chad Gable hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's great in the ring, but he's missing that factor.
Good. I wouldn't call him great.
Well, for me, it's very. I know I'm going to go off on a tangent here. Not trying to, but for me, he's very comparable to Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews is the same way. He's incredible in the ring, but just lacking something.
He's lacking the factor that makes you a star.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately something that you can't really teach. I think he can be serviceable for a long time. I think he's probably better suited for a tag team, but he just doesn't have it. That's exactly what he doesn't have, and I can't really say exactly what that is. But
yeah, I think if like Jason Jordan would have never got injured and they would have kept those two together, then they could have been incredible. But by himself, I don't know, man.
I even think if those two guys together would have been like Team Angle was kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I look at Chad Gable and I actually think Shelton Benjamin because he's good in ring and he can do it all, but like he could never really cut it anywhere else.
Right. I agree. Okay, Bob, what's next? Good talk.
Mm-hmm.
Wake up!
Da-da-da-da. Wait, what's the time thing? Bob it!
Why
does he just like
the fuck, man? Where were you?
Sorry.
Where you at?
Bailey. What?
Charlotte Flair versus Bailey. How many stars?
What?
Charlotte Flair versus Bailey.
2.25.
Okay.
Okay. I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, that's
it was alright match. Wasn't it? Nothing was gonna top Becky and fucking Sasha.
Right.
I didn't really care about the match. I was distracted by her breasts.
Dude, we had a nip slip tonight, so that was pretty. Or that night, so that was pretty good.
I didn't pay attention.
I didn't see it either, but I wanted to.
Rewind it. You can see it.
Bobbit, next match. What?
Oh.
Good God, he's transforming.
Versus the Fiend, Bray Wyatt.
Oh, Seth Rollins versus the Fiend.
Versus the Fiend.
Mm-hmm. Yes?
He's transforming.
It got. Go ahead, Bobby. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. It got -2 stars.
How do you go below 0? I guess the same way you go above 5, but whatever.
I mean, I give it a 0.
I give it a 0 as well. It was
Same.
always going to be close to that, regardless. Like they'd have to have like genius level writers to write themselves out of this shit, and we all know they're fucking. You ever see the Simpsons episode where it's a bunch of monkeys typing on typewriters? Welcome to WWE Creative.
Yep. Agreed. That being said, thank you, Bobbit, for the Meltzer ratings. I appreciate it. Even though I seen them. They had a match on the kickoff show. That was Lacey Evans.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch it. I just watched the Packer game. So
I literally give 2 shits about both of those women.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that in a minute. So Raw happened the next night, and the one thing that I did, I thought they were going to do it, and they didn't. Is I would have had Seth show. I would have put front and center. But as the night went on, I kind of thought it was funny because I was looking on Twitter. It's like people were you could tell people were waiting to fucking go off on WWE. Mm-hmm. And they didn't get a chance to. They kind of swept it under the rug to what happened. Again, everybody on this show said exactly what was gonna fucking happen in that match.
Yeah,
between Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins. So everything that I have said, everybody here has said. Okay, so what do you want WWE to do? They aren't gonna fucking beat Seth Rollins because he's an invincible wrestling Jesus, and you have Bray Wyatt who really can't lose because
they built the
guy. Well, they built this guy up to do what? He's had one fucking match. And he's the most over guy in WWE. So apparently, non-wrestling shit is what gets you over, and this is why you're getting title matches for Bray Wyatt. It doesn't make any fucking sense for Bray Wyatt to get a title shot.
Like, who in the fuck wanted this guy to win after wrestling one match?
A lot.
Anybody else? Yeah, but then
everybody. And I agree with you. I don't know why. I don't know why people wanted this guy.
He's been on TV for 8 months and had one wrestling match. So all these people that wanted him to win also are in love with Brock Lesnar's reign.
Hey, you're gonna do
because that's exactly what you were gonna get. You're not gonna, and if he shows up every night, nobody's gonna give a fuck about him because he's there all the time.
But to see, it's one-handed shit in the other. With
the one
these
thing that WWE did on Monday night that was actually super smart on their behalf because they knew there was so much backlash from Hell in a Cell was they waited until there was literally like 2 minutes left in the show to mention what happened.
They mentioned it late, and they didn't give anybody a chance to shit on the finale.
Right.
They literally hardly talked about that shit at all.
They did mention it, and then that was the end of it.
Yeah.
Yep. And I did like that, and I was laughing my ass off because people on Twitter were waiting. You could tell. You could cut the tension with the fucking.
You could tell people were watching Raw just to be angry at it, which is the problem with people.
Fucking go ape shit.
This is the problem with fucking anybody this is the problem with fucking modern day entertainment. People are more infatuated with hating on something than actually sitting down and enjoying it.
And you can't even say that they don't do it with like AEW either, because
they do it with everything. It's everything.
Yeah, there are a lot of fans out there that are like,
I can't wait to pick this apart
or whatever, and good. Like they'll shit on like something that like Chris Jericho. He got shit on for what he said about the creative mark with Jake Hager or JK, whatever the fuck his name is.
I don't get that.
People on Twitter started going nuts, but yeah, it's true. He didn't say WWE.
I don't even take it as like. I don't even take that as like a slight, because you're looking at somebody that's reacting to the audience. It's not planned that was going to be the audience's reaction. So he's looking to take control back of what's happening with the audience. And so like whatever he does there is just 100% shoot. You can't fault the guy for making something up on the spot.
Not only that, but you got to remember that like WWE, Vince, I can't, somebody said this and I can't remember what chat it was. Maybe it was JP or somebody, but Vince gave him permission to use the We the People thing in UFC. He no longer has permission to use that. So they had to put a stop to that. And like right on the spot.
The bottom line is like Jericho, if he's in the ring and he's saying something and it's in the spur of the moment and it's not like scripted or anything like that, he is, I trust him fully, and most of the things he does is like because he knows the business that well. Remember when like Neville broke his foot or whatever and he pulled that whole shit out of his ass?
Yeah.
I want to say this for all the people out there saying, why does WWE hire UFC? Why are they having a guy wrestling in a boxer wrestling in a wrestling company? You know what? Shut the fuck up. Calm the fuck down. Because WWE has been doing this long before this fucking.
Why doesn't anybody say anything about Baron Corbin?
Long before fucking Cain Velasquez even got to WWE. Fucking Muhammad Ali actually wrestled in a match.
Baron Corbin is a wrestler and also a Golden Glove.
Right. No, but what I'm saying is these people, WWE, this is why WWE sucks. Because they hire these UFC people to come in and fucking get views. Look, motherfucker. You know what?
Also, the Cain Velasquez thing is a bit far after the point. It's a reach for WWE to get views off of it. They will get it, but at the same time, it's like it's not fresh in everybody's mind.
No. Well, they did exactly what we said they should do on Friday. And that is show the footage of Cain Velasquez kicking the fuck out of Brock Lesnar. Now, they showed still photos, but you got the gist of what the fuck Cain Velasquez did.
And the thing is, if you think back to like the Attitude Era, one of the most popular and still watched to this day matches there's two of them. One is DX with Mike Tyson. Oh. And the other one is Floyd Money Mayweather against The Big Show.
Well, that wasn't in
But here's the thing. Like, I don't
that was an Attitude Era, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even put Velasquez and those two other guys. Like, I wouldn't put Tyson and Mayweather in the same category as Velasquez. He's actually putting the time to learn how to wrestle.
Yeah, I agree.
No, he's kind of in the same realm as Ronda Rousey. He's in the same realm as.
I was just saying, like.
Right, yeah, my point. I'm sorry. My point is for all these people saying the WWE is going to fail because they're bringing in these people. No, the fuck they're not.
And that was my point too. Like they've had ties with these people for a long time.
I mean, for fuck's sake, they fucking. I tweeted at somebody. Somebody said it's like you're fucking. I'm all in with AEW. You know what? Go ahead, be all in with AEW. I don't give a shit. Care what the fuck you do. Watch AEW and don't watch WWE. I don't fucking care. It's your life. You choose what you want to do. If you don't want to watch WWE, that's fine. Leave this shit alone. If you don't watch this, shut the fuck up.
And this is 100% something AEW would do too. If there's a way to expand,
I was just gonna say, and I thought about better of it. I thought better of it because Jack Hagar is the same. Well,
didn't they have a match with fucking Arrow or something?
Huh?
Didn't they have a match?
Yeah, they had a match
with
Arrow. The guy that played Arrow, and then not only that, but with this whole Jake Hagar thing, like he's former MMA or whatever.
I think he's had much more experience being a wrestler than he has been an
he's
MMA.
Like Brock Lesnar. He's like
wrestled
Brock
in school. He wrestled in college too.
Yes, he wrestled at the University of Oklahoma. But my point is okay. So it's okay. And I was gonna say this, and I thought, no, I can't really say that. But then again, I could have because Brock Lesnar is the same fucking thing. He wrestled, went to UFC. Well, let me rephrase that. Jack Hagar never fought in UFC. He fought in Bellator, and he hasn't fucking fought anybody yet. So for people to sit there and say that and for Chris Jericho to say that Jack Hagar is for real can fuck off. He hasn't fought anybody.
The only for real fighters are Brock and Ronda Rousey and Cain Velasquez. Now that he's there,
and Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley can go suck a pile of dicks.
Well,
I hate that guy.
I'm not a fan of him just because
he's doing something right.
Yeah, but like I look at his face and he looks like the shit emoji.
He does.
He does. But I just wanted to point that out. It's like, shut the fuck up. Before people open their mouths and don't think about, or open their Twitter mouths and don't think before they actually fucking tweet something out, and then you call them out on their bullshit, and then they try and backtrack on it. Come on, man. I mean, goddamn. Just let the fucking watch your AEW. I watch AEW, and then I gotta call the dick rider. How am I a dick rider? I watch both.
Well, I will say
WWE out on the same shit that I called AEW out. Friday night, they did the same fucking thing AEW did. However, they did use a disqualification. That's all I'm gonna fucking say about that, and everybody knows what I'm fucking talking about too. I got called a dick rider for that, and that is utter bullshit. Because I went back, I watched that match, and to sit there and watch the referee look at John fucking Moxley getting ready to attack fucking Kenny Omega, and I get yelled at or called the dick rider for referee's discretion bullshit, should have been a disqualification. End of fucking story. We're done talking about it.
We got so angry there for a second.
Well,
but you know what? Sorry. Like it literally does not make sense. And the one thing I've always wanted in wrestling is some sort of fucking sense. If you're booking something, try as best as you can. I know we have to suspend disbelief, but it doesn't mean we have to completely disregard belief at all.
Right.
Like, fuck off with that. But what Chance was saying was like he saw somebody complain that Velasquez didn't go through NXT. Here's the thing. I don't think that's going to be a thing anymore. I don't think anybody's going to think about having to go through NXT to hit SmackDown or Raw as an actual thing anymore. I think that's of the past. But if somebody said that, then they're obviously fucking stupid. Whatever. They realize the guy's at the twilight of his career and he's going to capitalize.
Anything that he did go through the Performance Center
and AAA. He went to AAA first.
Yep.
No, he went to Performance Center and then AAA. And then
yeah, he went through like 3 years of wrestling training. Yes. So to say that he didn't go to NXT is only saying that you didn't see it happen. And I don't give a fuck about somebody that's going to view the world through their eyes closed.
So, yeah. So, there not really much happened on Raw. Is there anything that I'm missing? The only thing that the opening of the show, I knew they were going to fucking do it. Lashley and fucking Lana. It's fucking great. I fucking loved it. 10 stars.
Yep.
I said that last week. It's exactly what
now that I'm in your house and I'm laying on your pillows and I'm wearing your coat and I shit on your own toilet, I'm going to take this huge cock and put it in my own hands while Lana watches.
But I think the most instructive thing we learned is apparently Rusev is such a big Kevin Owens fan he has his pillow.
What the fuck is happening? That promo lasted way too long.
Yes, it did. Well, didn't Rusev kick the shit out of fucking
Corbin?
Yeah, he just ended up.
And everybody's like, "Well, why are Baron Corbin and whoever out there?" Well, they were
was
going
Corbin and Randy Orton. Weren't they laughing at him?
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
and everybody's like, "Well, why did Rusev attack him?" Because
They were laughing at
they
him.
are having that match. It's and everybody's like, "Oh my God, Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan." I'm still seeing it. They're wrestling. No, they're not. They're just captains.
Okay, so I've got a big question.
Yes.
When did Lana not become Rusev's wife? Did I miss this?
No, it's storyline.
No, but like, when did that storyline kick in? Was it just as soon as she showed up and made out with Lashley?
Yeah, I don't
know. When Lashley showed up on the stage, that's when
the fuck? That is terrible storytelling.
It is.
It was like out of nowhere. There wasn't any inkling of her not being with the guy. They were disappeared for a while. He became a used car salesman. She became a hooker. And what the fuck happened?
Well, that was one of the things that when he challenged Seth for the Universal title, Caleb Braxton had asked, "Where's Lana?" And Rusev just went silent and just looked very angry, and that's how they started that story off. Because that's also when Bobby Lashley and Lana came out at the end of the show.
But that happened on the same show?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was earlier in the show.
Okay, yeah, that is terrible storytelling. It is
really bad
storytelling. And all of a sudden, she just hip deep in the Rock Soldier.
It was right after they announced Team Hogan versus Team Flair, and then he goes, and she's like, she was trying to ask why he helped Rollins, I think, and then like she did say so, like, "Where's Lana?" And he just looked at her and goes, "That doesn't matter. He says like, "I don't want to talk about her. Or that doesn't matter. What matters is I'm challenging Seth for the title tonight," or something like that. And then
I would have loved if Team Hogan was nothing but black people.
Oh shit!
I mean, my question, I guess, with that storyline is like, is having Baron Corbin and Randy Orton out there. I know that he kicked their ass this last week, but like, is it actually going to pan into storyline between future story building between them?
The reason that Randy Orton and Baron Corbin were out there was
I think it was supposed to be a tag team match.
Well, no, they were just there to attack.
I think that's what they were alluding to.
Okay,
because they were standing outside.
But anyway, they're doing that match, and Ric Flair has Randy Orton and Baron Corbin are on a team. And then on that team,
but like I'm talking about to the Raw before that as well. Like,
no, I don't think
when
they're
Bobby Lashley and Lana first came out, like, when Corbin's chair fell apart.
That was the tag match between Rusev and Seth and Baron Corbin and Randy.
Oh, okay.
Wait, okay. When is the Saudi Arabian Sex Fest?
October 31st.
When is Survivor Series?
3 weeks later.
No.
A week later. I think it's November 7th or something.
3 weeks.
Yeah. I think so.
Is it really? I thought it was like a week afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
No, I don't think they. I know they did. I think they learned their lesson last time.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, 3 weeks still isn't enough time to fucking build up storyline.
November 22nd is Survivor
Series. Wait. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
I just Googled it, and it says Survivor Series 2019 will begin Friday, November 22nd, and ends on Monday, November 25th.
That's a weekend. They make it a weekend because it's one of the big fucking.
It's going to be in Illinois.
5. Man, who cares? Be in Chicago.
It's gonna be okay.
No,
this is. I think this is my problem with doing the brand split, then immediately following it with the Saudi Arabian show. It just shows like the company wants to change, but at the same time, blood money, motherfucker.
I don't know about the blood money thing. I said it the other fucking day. Other countries do it, so what makes other companies do it? What makes WWE any different?
I don't want to
because they
technically
they bend over backwards for this fucking for Saudi Arabia for this fucking deal. Like,
here's the problem: you have like
does. I mean, for fuck's sake, they brought fucking Undertaker and Goldberg back.
You have a certain amount of the world changing, and then you have WWE being like, "Well, we're gonna cash in on the old guard, baby, because that's what we do. Because the money, that's where the money is." It's just like it doesn't fit, and it's never fit what WWE has said they wanted to do. Yeah, you can find loopholes and say it fits because they're hoping at one point in time women can be people there. But it's like, man, I don't know, man.
I will say that WWE has been doing like a lot of good there with like
they've been putting on shows
with the prints and stuff. It's not even just about the shows. It's more about what WWE has been doing for their society.
What have they done for their society?
Well, for one, they were part of the like whole women driving thing. Like
I don't think they were part of it at all. I think they just capitalized on it.
They did.
Well, maybe.
Well, not only that, Renee was able to go over there and work.
Yeah, nice. And that was a huge thing.
She went over there on the street corner. Whoa! Wow!
No, she was actually on the commentator table, like, and the second time that she was over there, she wasn't even she didn't even have to wear like the headgear or anything like that.
I think WWE capitalized on a culture that's changing regardless of WWE, and so it's a win-win for them. They can play the part of a hero, even though they're not, and all they're doing is taking money.
And you know what? It's also good. It's also Saudi Arabia capitalizing on WWE
because they get the exposure of they get the exposure of that change for them. In business, it's always going to be a two-way street, but like at the same time, I hate the idea that these shows are bloated. Like all the Saudi Arabia shows are so bloated with things that kind of kill the regular show.
Well, when you see a Saudi Arabia show that is more loaded than WrestleMania,
it becomes irritating. Yes.
The Saudi Arabian shows are WrestleMania from like 20 years ago, where you have fucking Mike Tyson fighting someone for the final match or some shit.
I'm sorry. Just my only issue is the blood money thing, because every country does it. We're not the only one. There is no country is clean. Period. I don't care what anybody fucking says, and we're not as clean as everybody thinks. We never were. But the blood
America
money
is
thing
probably
is
just the uncleanest country.
We're filthy.
You guys are built on blood and war.
Well, I'm not gonna lie.
It makes sense, though. It makes sense.
You forgot money. We're built on blood, money, and war.
Well, you make money off of both those things, blood and war.
I mean, it sucks to say that. It's true. But WWE taking money from Saudi Arabia.
It's a two-way street because they're trying to show their progression. They're trying to change over years how they're perceived by people that don't know them. And it does have to happen over years. You can't just turn around and be like, yes, everything has changed, because there's going to be like, if you turn around in a day, there's going to be a lot of people that revolt against that idea. Mm-hmm. So the slow change makes sense. It works for both company, or it works for the country and it works for the company. It's just, it doesn't work for the company immediately, siding with a country that is literally against 90% of what you just built your company around in the last year and a half. It's the women's revolution. Time to go to somewhere where women can't be unless they're in the garbage bags.
Yeah, I mean, Saudi Arabia is actually more westernized than you're giving it credit for.
Well, they just put out a video about how women can drive, so I don't know, man.
I have a question. What does any of this have to do with This Week in Wrestling?
Because we're talking
about
the
crown jewel is going to Saudi Arabia, and they're also putting on a lot. But they're also putting on a lot of the matches people wanted to see, probably on an actual WWE pay-per-view and Survivor Series on Crown Jewel. And yeah, they're gimmicky matches, but it makes that show just that much more gimmicky. I have literally now very low interest in watching that show.
Oh, I'll still watch it. I mean,
I won't. I'll watch matches. I'll watch a match or two. I won't watch the whole show because it's like 6 hours long.
I'll probably be at work, so.
The only thing that makes me mad about... Oh, go ahead, Heather.
No, go ahead. You first, Trey.
The only thing that pissed me off about the way they're promoting the show is that I saw one promotion, it's like Mansoor won the battle royal. I'm like, yeah, nice job promoting an anti-Semite piece of shit.
Oh, there we go with that shit again. Here we go.
No, piece of
crap.
Oh my god. You got to take a crap, then go take a crap.
I've actually heard the same thing about the dude. Like, I've heard really bad things.
Who? I don't know.
Monsieur, like, apparently he said a lot of really anti-Semitic shit.
Well, do you want to know why?
Because he's from a country that doesn't like them.
That's why.
Yeah, but when you're working for a company like WWE, you need to keep your mouth shut when it comes to shit like that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Ask Walrus about that one.
But this is the problem that you run into by bringing people in that are from those countries. That's the problem you run into.
I agree. That's what I was trying to say.
The thing I like is the one thing that they're heavily pushing for this is the Survivor Series style match that they have going on between Team Hogan
but
and
I don't. The problem. Here's the problem that I have with that is they have Survivor Series. 3 weeks
why
later,
the fuck isn't it at Survivor Series?
Yeah,
I would have had this match at Survivor Series, but I get why they're doing it because it's the fucking.
They're trying to pump up for Survivor Series.
I'm sure the people want to see Hogan.
I'm Saudi Arabia's paying them $200 million for every show they do. So,
well,
there you go.
For what I heard also that Hogan's not even going to be at Survivor Series because I guess he has to have back surgery like immediately after he gets home.
Which explains why they're having the match there.
And again, and I understand Saudi Arabia paid them $200 million. They probably had, okay, we'll do this, but we have some stipulations that we'd like to do. And that's fine.
I feel like the Saudi Arabian deal lines their pockets, but hurts their actual main program.
That is why it should be a house show and not a fucking pay-per-view.
But they hype it like it's the second coming of Jesus Christ, which is the problem.
I am with you 100%.
Like, this is like, it's actually it's going to become a bad time, and it's a 10-year deal, so it's going to last for a long fucking time.
Right. Eventually, I don't think it'll last 10 years.
I think it will.
It will.
But I also think it'll eventually bite them in the ass because they'll end up hurting their own product when hurting their own product is going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And if people have already, once the mass public starts speaking about something, it's going to fast track that change. So people will be like, and I'm one of them saying, AEW is not in any position to do anything. But all it really takes is a turn of a huge amount of people to make that a big problem. And I'm not saying AEW is the type, in my opinion, I don't think AEW is fucking the second company of Wonder Bread or anything like that. I think they're good, but they're not great. And WWE is not good either.
Go ahead, Gina, and then we're actually going to move on to that show. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to say, I think if they're going to keep on having the Saudi Arabia events, then they need to start, eliminating pay-per-views and get rid of some of the more gimmicky pay-per-views like Hell in a Cell or even Elimination Chamber, and get rid of them and replace
that one.
Replace them with your Saudi Arabia shows so that you don't get put in a corner where you only have 3 weeks to build up to one of your biggest fucking shows of the year.
Elimination Chamber has a purpose, though.
But altogether, they just need to start eliminating pay-per-views in itself. I think because it's no longer one pay-per-view a month anymore. There's some months where we get
15 or 16 in a year because they do Women's Evolution, 2 or 3 Saudi Arabian shows. And there's
too many pay-per-views, and that's not giving them enough time to build up to their big 4.
I'd rather they treat the Saudi Arabian pay-per-view as an actual pay-per-view, that's storyline building, than an add-on, and just eliminate it. Like you said, go from the keep it the original 12, but eliminate Hell in a Cell, replace it with Saudi Arabia, and eliminate.
TLC, make it part of Extreme Rules.
TLC.
Eliminate TLC. Yeah.
I don't think you should have the Women's Evolution show. I don't want to watch a show that's all men or women fighting.
They're not going to do that.
From what I understand, they're not doing Women's Evolution. They're not doing Evolution this year.
But I don't like the idea of them getting rid of Elimination Chamber. It has a purpose.
Yeah, but I don't
the
like
winner gets a
elimination.
championship shot. You could use it
Yeah,
before
but
SummerSlam or something. That could be a bit more interesting.
But here's what I don't like about Elimination Chamber. Elimination Chamber basically took the place of the Royal Rumble. Like the Royal Rumble, like but the Royal Rumble, like the winner of the Royal Rumble was supposed to go on to WrestleMania to main event. And now it's to the point where like the winner of the Royal Rumble basically gets a title shot or at Elimination Chamber, and then the winner of Elimination Chamber gets the match at WrestleMania.
No.
That doesn't
No.
sense.
The winner of the Rumble still gets a title shot at WrestleMania, and so does the Elimination Chamber winner. But I do agree with you saying the Elimination Chamber kind of downgrades the win at the Royal Rumble. So I would move the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To April or whatever, like just so it actually determines
I would move
the SummerSlam champion.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say move it somewhere in between WrestleMania and SummerSlam.
I agree, and I also think the Royal Rumble thing should be kind of like people shouldn't really know. Are they going to cash in on Raw or SmackDown? It should be up in the air till closer to when it happens.
I agree. All right. So that being said, AEW was this past week. They had their second show. We actually watched NXT first. I'm going to say this now. NXT will get my live view before I watch AEW.
I'll watch AEW live next week and NXT record.
I've been alternating.
I would just rather. I mean, I can
it
go
doesn't
without.
Really matter to me.
Right. I can, and I'm just telling you how I feel. I think NXT is the better show. AEW they still have some issues. We talked about it ad litem after.
I will say this.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I will say this. I watched it again. I watched AEW again, and I was able to better concentrate on what was going on, like on the actual show, and listen to the commentary and stuff. And altogether, it was a much better show the second time around that I watched it because I was able to actually understand what the fuck was going on with the commentators and all this shit. So I know I didn't like it the first time that I watched it, but the second time I actually liked it.
I didn't mind it the first time I watched it. Just certain things I didn't like, and I think listening to commentators could have kind of improved that outcome. But at the same time, it's like I'm not going to give anyone promotion my live viewership because I don't give a fuck about that shit. I will watch one. I will alternate because I watch both.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. And it's not like I'm watching them. Right. They're never going to know if I watch them, so it doesn't matter.
But my main British USA bitch. But my main point to this whole thing was just because I know I spent quite a bit of time trying to explain to you guys why MJF did what he did or whatever, you know.
I still don't
but anyways, I'm not going to go back into that because as I said, I watched the rest of the shows. But when you were actually watching the show in itself, hearing the commentary, and not only that, but just hearing what was actually going on in the ring, it makes a lot more sense when you can actually hear that stuff. And it made sense to me the whole time because like I said, I watched the other shows, but I know you guys didn't like that because you didn't think it made sense. But if you would have actually heard what was being said in the ring at the time, then I think it would have made more sense.
The reason I don't like it more than anything, I feel like because the whole product is being shotgunned, everything is happening too fast, and they basically got a barbershop fucking thing going on before they've had their third show. Everything is happening too fast. I know they need to tell storylines, but keep it simple, stupid for a while until people have an understanding. Your wide audience that doesn't only watch things that are tertiary to the actual product. Keep it very simple until you can establish who is what and how they are and why this might happen. To the people that have watched just the TV show and this is the second one, very confusing.
Yeah, I will say Yeah, I will say this though. I know how you guys feel about watching the YouTube things, but anybody out there that's listening that is an actual wrestling like wrestling fan and you want to see more matches from AEW, watch AEW Dark.
No, don't do it.
They have some of the best matches. They have some of the best matches on AEW Dark. And coming up this Tuesday, they have Kenny Omega versus Joey Janela, which apparently was really fucking good. It was the match of the night, and it lasted 27 minutes. So that's one of their matches that they're going to have on AEW Dark.
I think it's a smart idea for them to capitalize on the audience they've already built in YouTube.
Here is what they should do with AEW Dark. You want me to watch AEW Dark? Why don't you start fucking showing some of that fucking 60% of the fucking roster that you don't have instead of fucking showing Kenny Omega and Joey Janela?
I literally don't.
No, it wasn't. It's not just Kenny Omega and Joey Janela.
I understand that.
Coming too,
I understand that.
But
I'm just saying.
So I don't think there's a 60% of the roster they're hiding or anything like that. I think for the most part, what we see is what we get, but they will interchange roster. They will highlight people that they can borrow from other promotions when they want to. That beside the point. If you're looking at AEW Dark and think it's a bad idea, then I have to say you're wrong.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
I'm not going to watch it, but they're using a platform they built upon to show more matches for that platform.
And what I love about it is the fact that, because I know some people are like, why the fuck wouldn't they show Kenny Omega versus Joey Janela? That's a huge match or whatever. They're doing this in order to make their fans that are at their live events happy. They want those fans leaving happy. They want them coming back for more. So they're doing the smart thing there, and on top of that, they're capitalizing on it and doing an even smarter thing by recording it and putting it on YouTube so that other fans out there are going to be like, man, I got to go to a fucking live show because this shit's ridiculous and this isn't even on the show.
My only concern with AEW Dark, just like what's happening in AEW anyway, is that I have a feeling there's going to be an expectation of fandom from me that I'm not willing to uphold to understand exactly what's going on. And I have a feeling the live show probably won't do the best at explaining it. Right. If they just tell me to go somewhere else to watch something else, it's probably not going to happen. So I'm going to miss out on exactly why things are happening. They can rectify that with showing little snippets of what happened somewhere else. Since they own everything, they can do that, and they should. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to have to watch dark matches to understand why a storyline is happening. Storylines aren't really formed in dark matches.
That's not dark. That's not on AEW Dark. That would be on Being the Elite. But I get what you're saying. We talked about this extensively last week after the show. They need to start showing little clips of what happened on Being the Elite in order for the new fans to understand what the fuck is going on.
Yes.
It's not just the new fans. I'm not really a new fan. It's just I don't have, and of all the wrestling that's out there, I don't really have the time of the day to then go somewhere else to find out something you realistically have the power to show me, but you're not willing to. And it's probably not the right time for a company to do that. Like WWE can get away with certain things, and even they don't do it that way. But they can get away with certain things because they have such a wide viewership on multiple platforms. YouTube is a huge viewership platform for AEW, and so is now TNT. But yeah, I mean, if you want to bring in new fans, don't tell them to go somewhere else to watch something else. Yeah. It's like, if you ever listened to a friend, it's like, you really need to watch this show. I'm going to say 20%, maybe 15% of the time you'll actually watch the show. The rest of the time you're just like, yeah, it's cool, man.
Yeah, I look, I don't watch Being Elite. I never watched it from the beginning. But I listened to podcasts. Okay? I listened to Bruce Pritchard. I listened to Tony Schiavone in his podcast. And I listened to Eric Bischoff in his podcast. Why? Because I'm at work and I sit in an office and I'm bored as fuck. I can't just... And Being the Elite, you have to actually watch it. You can't just listen to it.
The thing is, you can listen to half of it, and you have to watch part of it.
If I was to take 15 minutes out of my day to watch Being the Elite, I would neglect my daughter. And
I'm going to say right now, you are not. I would never take you to being a fan of being the Elite.
I'm not. I can't.
I don't think you would be because, though I enjoyed it and I watched about half of what they put out, it eventually evolved into something that was heavily gimmicked. And you're never watching being the Elite to get the payoff of the gimmick. You have to watch when they wrestle to get that. So they just like they used it as a platform when they were in New Japan to build storyline, and it was a very smart idea, and they did wonderful with it, I think. But I don't think it's going to translate as well to an American audience as building a storyline on a platform you're not showing your actual product on. Right. So
well,
I hope
don't
they
know.
rectify that.
I guess it depends on what kind of a fan you are, because I know like if I see like a wrestler that I really like or whatever, sometimes if I'm bored enough, I will go on YouTube or whatever and like YouTube some of their matches or.
I mean, I agree with you, but that's just not exactly what I'm saying. In order to understand something, I have to watch YouTube to understand the product.
I get what you're saying.
I'm actually, it's kind of reverse. If I want to know more about something and I'm intrigued that much, then I can go on another product to watch or research about it. But if I have to actually watch something on another product to understand the product that's the mainstay for them, it gets kind of confusing.
Well, and again, like I said, I don't think that this is going to be for too much longer. It's just right now they're using this to establish. Yeah, they're just establishing fucking storylines on this. And I don't
like
think
I said,
that they're gonna
I'm giving them a good solid year to work out the kinks. Yep. I'm not going to really be able to judge them so harshly on what they're not doing perfectly as a newly developed company until I see them work for a year. So yes, I can pinpoint things and say you should improve this or you should do this better, but I'm not going to hold them to like a guillotine and say if you don't do it, Dad, never watching you again.
No, I won't do. But I still will call them out on their bullshit, especially if I see somebody on fucking Twitter fucking saying something and it's just not even just on Twitter. I see it on Facebook, whatever. Or if I'm talking to somebody and they say it, I'm gonna be like, look, man, WWE, I mean, come on. Man, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If
you can call someone stupid today, and when they realize they're stupid 2 years from now, it doesn't matter. No, the only person you're actually fighting against is the fact that you're talking to a brick wall.
That's true. But I'm just saying, it's just, and that's me personally. That's the way I am. I've been watching wrestling for almost 40 years. So I have an expectation. And ultimately, what I am saying when I fucking say shit like that is go back and watch some of the old shit. Go back and you're missing if you don't understand the history of wrestling. Don't come at me because look, I've been like I said watching this shit for 40 years, and I'm gonna call people, and I do it to WWE too. I call them out on their bullshit all the fucking time. I'm gonna call AEW out, even though they're a new company. They have guys that have been wrestling for how long? They should know. Well, I know WWE did this, so we're not going to do this. But then they turn around and do it anyway.
Sorry, go ahead.
Basement, go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, sorry. I was just going to say, the only thing that I really, really like that AEW has going on, well, not the only thing, but one of the main things that I like that they have going on for them is just the fact that the wrestlers are going by bullet points and not scripting. I like that because it's a lot. It's a breath of fresh air after everything that we're watching on current WWE.
I'm going to say this on that. I'm going to call people out on this too. You have to remember WWE, and it's not WWE. It is the superstars themselves. Triple H has come out and said it. Half of the superstars that they have want to be scripted. Don't want
I'm not saying that. I just I like it. It's like a breath of fresh air over on AEW.
But I don't want people shitting on WWE because they are scripting. It's because the superstars want to be scripted. Because I hear that all the time. Well, WWE this and WWE. Did you ever think that maybe the superstars have some kind of say so? I'm just saying.
I mean, I think that they want to be scripted. I just think that they don't want to be scripted as badly as what they are right now.
So, if I have to look at the two companies, and I honestly do believe that history repeats itself, AEW is
If you say
very
WCW,
close,
so
but
fucking
they are very close to WCW, and I'm not gonna like in what they are producing, and the fact that they've got a mogul heading them. They are very close. It reminds me heavily of WCW, and it even did on their first show when Cody Rhodes came out and they showed the fans. I got huge WCW vibes, and this is when WCW was like.
I'm seeing that all over social media too.
But this is when WCW was a strong competitor with WWE.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to end up like WCW.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just saying I get very strong WCW vibes with Ted Turner, now Khan, heading up a company run by wrestlers or people that think, I just...
Yeah, what I'm going to say is, of course, you're going to get a very strong WCW vibe because a lot of the guys backstage were part of WCW. And one of the main guys that runs the company right now is the son of a former WCW star.
But it just doesn't end there. Like they've signed a bunch of talent that built a name elsewhere, just like WCW did, and they promoted them and kind of switched up to, like, I look at Kenny Omega almost like the fucking Hulk Hogan of WCW. Now that I'm watching in Wrestling Memories, I kind of see the comparison. Though yes, not in ring, but in character, they're kind of like paint by numbers WCWing, which is, it's a stretch at times, but it's also not at times.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. And I know we talked about this on Wednesday after we were watching the show. I'm not a fan, and I agree with Basement. He did say that factions are just a little too soon because they're going to oversaturate.
Everything
which is exactly
is a little too soon,
another
man.
reason why they look like WCW when the NWO came into effect. Okay, they and the name of the faction. What's the name? Inner Circle.
Inner Circle, yeah.
The thing is, they are building a short story, not a fucking trilogy or a novel. Like you're on your second show and you're debuting two factions. It's like,
well, you're not really debuting two factions because the show started with one faction already. The Elite was a faction already.
Was it promoted properly to understand it though?
I mean, if you're going to be watching wrestling, chances are you're going to know who the Elite is.
So if you watch New Japan, you'd understand that this new company, that was my original problem with them anyway. But like, it wasn't blatantly obvious. I just don't. Fuck. This is literally what killed WCW.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It's also literally what really helped NJPW.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on where you stand. But in a North American audience, I'm going to side with WCW over NJP. So I don't know. Like, I still hope for the best because I don't want to see WWE the way it is anymore unless it's NXT.
I agree. Which is the next show. Both shows were pretty good. NXT for me was the better show, though. Again, still, it wasn't as good as it was the week before, and I'm not expecting it to be. Of course, you're going to have viewership drops.
But you know what? That's the same thing I would say for all of the shows that happened this week.
Yes, of course. Of course. The viewership drops, of course, that's going to happen. That was expected. I think people are reading too much into.
It's too soon.
It's too soon. And again, if we're going to base a show off of fucking ratings, then I don't want to fucking watch the product.
I mean, eventually it will be based off of ratings, just where you rank things, because it's the only number they can go upon. But talking about ratings on the second show, or even the 30th show, kind of doesn't matter.
I don't want to watch a show based on ratings. Yes, WWE is based on ratings. Who cares?
Everything is based on ratings. It's the only way it stays on air.
I don't want that to be the reason why I have to watch that show.
Well, there's no reason. You don't have to watch any show. You can watch whatever you want.
Exactly.
But certain people use that as a determining factor for why one show is better. But it's way too early to even go down that road.
Yes. Just because this show had, if that's the case, then SmackDown was the better show out of all of them because they have more viewers than anybody. And it wasn't. I can tell you that right fucking now.
It really wasn't. It fell way short of
way short of what they did the week before. It was
that was obvious that was going to happen. I'm surprised they even hit like the 3 mark. I think they were close, or they hit it.
They were close. They were at 2.8 million.
So people sitting there saying, well, AEW this and WWE this. And it's like, you know what? Both.
It's just people wanting to make a war the two products, man.
I don't understand why we have to keep on saying one is better than the other. Like, if you're a true wrestling fan,
I agree. I don't care.
If you're a true wrestling fan, like for me, like I said, like AEW, we were all on the call, so it was a little hard for me to pay attention at times. So I did watch it a second time, and after watching it the second time, I would say, for me, NXT. The matches themselves were probably just a fraction of a hair better than AEW. Otherwise, they were pretty much equal because wrestling. I don't give a fuck what the fuck is happening otherwise.
There's a couple things I didn't like on AEW, and it actually existed outside of the ring. Like, I don't understand why Darby Allin is fighting. Who did he fight again?
Jimmy Havoc, and I tried to explain this to you, but you were not.
But no, because it doesn't really make sense. Because I remember Cody Rhodes posting why this is happening, but his logic was completely flawed in why he said it was happening.
No, it's not.
Yes,
it makes sense.
Flawed.
He was trying to base it off of the college football rankings, and he had the college football rankings.
Yeah, that is stupid. Like that.
No, but also saying like
that's why Darby Allin is wrestling fucking for the title.
No,
how can you justify? How can you justify? And I'm going to ask this again. How can you justify a guy that won one fucking match over a guy that has not lost a match? Beat Kenny Omega, beat Adam Page, and yet he's not getting a title shot? The fuck? That's a little fucking confusing to me. Well, I don't buy the bullshit that they're feeding with the fucking.
What he said was complete garbage because what he said is like, it depends on the quality of the match. Well, then there's no actual rating system whatsoever because quality is subjective.
Yeah.
It's not. There's not a rating. You can't say this guy had a great quality match but lost. Champion. Then you're WWE, and you're not even. You're a bit better but still stupid as fuck.
In the long run, it really doesn't matter anyway because we all know that as good as or as much as I love Darby Allin,
he shouldn't.
We all know
I understand.
That's not what I'm going to say. That's not what I'm going to say at all. What I'm saying is, in the end, it doesn't matter anyway. We all know he's going to lose to Chris Jericho because Chris Jericho is fighting Cody at full gear coming up.
But I'm just going to tell you this: he shouldn't be in this match.
So because we know the outcome of something means it's okay to accept why something happened.
But what I'm saying is, if they would take the large caliber guys like you guys are talking about, like let's say, Adam Page or somebody of that caliber or higher. And they would have them lose clean on this coming up Wednesday to Chris Jericho, then everybody would be up in arms about that.
Right so they have their second match.
They put that out there, Gina. They don't
even need to get. Okay, so we just understood that Cody Rhodes is fighting for the championship. Why do we need to know somebody else is now going to? Well, it's way too fast for that even to be announced. I don't understand what the fuck's happening. It's like we know who's gonna fight for the championship. Who wins the Like what the fuck? We have the competitor already lined up before we have the end of the first match.
Well, the thing is, I mean, the only other thing that they could do, because I think that there is like a week or two in between this Wednesday and Full Gear, so the only other thing that they could do would be like have Darby win and then have Chris literally come the next week and just like
I literally thought
and win
Darby was fighting the winner of that match.
No, Darby is fighting Chris Jericho this Wednesday.
He is.
What? Why is that even a thing?
I don't know, to be quite honest. Like me personally, I would have made it a non-title match myself, but
because it makes literally no sense. I would shit on WWE for this 100%, so I'm going to shit on them. This literally makes no sense. And Darby Allin, like he was the right person to win, but I was thinking he was going to challenge after whoever won.
Yeah,
he was
no, it's
challenge.
Wednesday.
That is not good in my mind, man.
You know what I think is going to happen? I think that it's going to be disqualification.
It's just bad booking, though.
Yeah, but I honestly think because of how much. Okay, the past 2 shows have ended with the Inner Circle and the Elite fighting. So I have a feeling that somebody from the Elite is gonna end up coming out and attacking the Inner Circle, and then they're gonna get into it, and it's gonna cause a disqualification in the match.
I already feel really the problem I see already is going to be the complexity of what they're trying to do too fast.
I don't think it's complex at all. I just like
what in the fuck?
It's pretty predictable. I mean, you can kind of see what's going to happen.
But we should on WWE
when they come out and say wins and losses matter, like they kind of devalue the title.
Yeah.
Having somebody challenge it one day and the next. They are. This is why I'm saying they remind me of WCW, and everybody can say why they don't think that's true and they're the greatest thing ever. They kind of remind me of WCW because they are way hot on the trigger. They are ready and willing and able to pull that trigger constantly. And it's only been the second show. We've got 2 title matches and we're about to have 3. Like, I don't know, man.
It's all right. It's all right.
Well, it's also they're falling into the trap of WWE, where the world champion's there every week and he's got to fight every week, pretty much. And it's like they don't need to. The world champion.
It's hard for me. It's hard for me to say that. Yeah. It's just I don't like the way that they're starting.
Yeah.
In respect to what they are countering, because NXT has actually perfected that formula, and that's really what they should be following more so. Less is more, not more is more. And if I start watching fucking AEW and I see like a pair of boots start talking, I'm probably gonna I agree, it's funny, but you can't base a product over it.
Right. So that being said, I mean, NXT was a better show. I don't even really remember what was the main event on NXT.
I think NXT was very slightly a better show.
Slightly better, yeah. Like it was not.
Slightly. It wasn't overwhelming.
No, it wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't as good as it was the week before. It was still a little bit better. They're getting ready to advance storylines. I know next week they're doing Donovan Dijakovic and Keith Lee. But if you notice, they didn't have a match last week. So they're spreading.
They've been spreading it out, yeah.
Their matches if they're rematches, and this is a rubber match. So it's 1-1, and this is that rubber match. So hopefully we get the finality of that, or we might get a disqualification, and they might. I don't know what they're going to do.
I still honestly think if you're gonna push a match to a best of 3 and you're gonna actually spend like a month and a half to do so, it should probably be worth something.
And I agree, and they might make it worth something because both of them guys are fantastic in the ring. In fact, the last time they wrestled was probably their best match.
I'd like to see like William Regal come up before the match and say, and by the way, this is this and this, and the winner gets a shot at the North American Championship or something like that. Just give it a bit more oomph, because I hate things like that last longer than they should to end up in nothing.
We did get Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley was there. I like Rhea Ripley. I think she is real. I think she's got what it takes. On AEW side, I guess Britt Baker is getting a title shot.
Mm.
That woman sucks.
She sucks in the mic. I thought she was just terrible. I thought that she was just fighting Riho for non-title match.
No, it's a title match.
I think it's a title match.
Was it? Okay.
I think somebody said it. I think they said it was. I think they tweeted it out. I do follow both. I do follow them. I just know what they might, because I know that they're all about the social media and they do put out there what they're doing for possible matches or whatever. And that's how I got that tweet from Cody.
This is what boggles my mind. Like how is AEW's women's division so bad?
I think they invested into Britt Baker, and she's really not as good as they thought she was.
Between that and their champion is only 22 years old.
But she's good. She's a good 22-year-old.
I don't really mind who they have as champion. I don't mind Nyla Rose either, for that matter. It's just like I don't see the depth in the women's division. Who else do they have? And
Allie.
Bea Priestley.
Yeah, Allie.
Bea Priestley's another one. I don't know, man.
I love Bea Priestley.
I don't know, man.
Watching like the last like 3 or 4 shows, I have no idea. I only know they have 2 women, and one of them is a man.
Was a man.
She's a manly woman. So anyway, but yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I guess Britt Baker's getting a title shot, and I don't.
But I don't understand why either. Did she? What did she do besides graduate?
I don't know. She studied a lot. That's all I know. So
well, I mean,
I gotta hop off for just a few minutes, but I'll be back on.
Okay.
Right.
Speaking of AEW, apparently everybody in AEW has been liking my tweets so far.
Nobody cares, Bobby. That's another thing. Why do we need to know who likes whose tweets? And I'm not shitting on you, Bobby. I don't care. I got that on fucking. Somebody's like, "Oh my god, fucking Matt Hardy liked my tweet." I'm like, "Oh my god, I seen Matt Hardy wrestle once." What the fuck? I don't care. I don't care who likes whose tweets.
I literally have no idea about half the people. So it's like, Road Dogg like my tweet. I really don't know literally anything about the guy except for like what I've seen on television or what I'm being presented with. I don't know.
I actually, why do we care? Why do we care? The whole
well, now you're entering a zone that we could probably never answer.
No. You don't. You can answer. You shouldn't care. And it's a rhetorical question.
No, but I feel like the answer is so much of a debate.
It is. Why do we care what a superstar does on a daily basis? Like, I'm waiting for the day when we get, like...
You know the answer. The answer is super long-winded.
Like, I'm waiting for the day that, like, Randy Orton or something, because I love when he tweets. When he tweets, it's funny as fuck.
Yeah, he does.
And he goes, for all of you stands out there, stands of me, I'm taking a shit right now, and it is an epic poop. I'm waiting for that day when a superstar actually tweets something out there. I'm fucking my wife now. Thanks for asking.
Here's the thing, and this is why I love, like, know a lot of people shit on the fact that social media is killing kayfabe and everything, and I agree to a point, but it also has enhanced the ability of kayfabe if used correctly. Mm-hmm. It has not been used correctly because people think, like, wrestlers think, and here's the problem, wrestlers think they can be acting but also be themselves at the same time. And I'm not going to force that on anybody. You don't have to sacrifice your own personal being for being a wrestler. But if you do, you are praised to all hell. Right. It's like if I was going to act in a movie as a character, yet I went on social media and be like, "Here's me and my friend Samuel L. sucking each other's cocks," and like what, like like the idea of holding disbelief now extends to social media. It's not impossible. And if it was me and I had any control over anything that was happening, I'd say I'd kind of like force this upon people. I'd be like, you know what? We're going to use it like the tool it is, like everybody else uses it as. This is exactly what we're going to do. If this is your character, this is the character you portray. Some of the wrestlers do it, but I feel like it's left up to the characters to do it. Right. Like Rusev does it, Randy Orton does it, but like Sasha Banks, Bayley, just 90% of the time don't do it, or do it half the time, and you just get confused.
Right. So let's move on to SmackDown. And the opening of the show was Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, and the winner. It is so stupid because
this whole fucking thing.
This thing made no sense because they build this as whoever wins this match gets the first pick.
This wasn't a draft as much as it was telling us where superstars went, because it's already predetermined. That's exactly what it felt like to me.
No, right.
It didn't feel like there was nothing on the. I looked at it saying they've already established exactly where people should go, because there was no real surprises, or I never cared, and this whole beginning match made no sense.
Right. Excuse me, sorry. So the thing is that you knew that Raw was going to get the first pick because they get 3 picks for SmackDown's 2. So Raw was going to get a pick, then SmackDown, then Raw, then SmackDown, and then Raw was going to get a pick. That's how the rounds were going to work. It wouldn't have made sense for them to go. Well, it would have, but it would have gone SmackDown, Raw, SmackDown, Raw, Raw. That's how the picks would have gone if they were going to do that. Makes no sense. So you knew Raw was going to get the first pick. But the way that they said that why this match was even happening made no fucking sense.
The reason this match happened is because they didn't want to show Rollins or The Fiend on Raw for fear of the backlash. So they moved it to SmackDown. That's essentially what I believe happened.
They did. But yeah, but it made no sense because Raw was going to get the first pick anyway because they have 3 picks for SmackDown's every 2. So why even? And then they go and do the draft, and I'm waiting, and I just whatever. But here's who
hate the way they do the draft now.
I do too. I don't like the way they do shit. And the fucking people in the fucking war room. We'll get into that in just a second.
Well, they used it for 2 seconds. But
here's
whatever.
who went to Raw. You got Becky Lynch, the OC, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Ricochet, Bobby Lashley, Alexa Bliss, Kevin Owens, Natalya, the Vikings, Nikki Cross, and the Street Profits. Today, apparently, in a supplemental fucking draft or whatever the fuck it is, EC3, Eric Young, and Sakara are on fucking Raw.
Okay, so WWE has literally fucked everything up. Again for the 8th time.
Yep.
They can't seem to understand the concept of what they're doing, and they continue to butt fuck themselves, which pisses me the fuck off, because this is the one thing I said, you know what, WWE is a sinking ship, but if they want to right that ship, they have a reset button. This is like the 8th reset button. And what did they do? Reset. Fucking garbage. Complete garbage. Because the draft didn't make a lick of sense. It was organized terribly. Why are certain people not allowed to be drafted? Why isn't that actually told to us? And if certain people are being held out for the draft that happens on Raw, let everybody know that, oh, by the way, they would have drafted Brock Lesnar because since he's the champion, but that could only happen on Raw. And then that kills the draft because a draft in 2 parts where you hold off half the great, it's just fucking stupid, okay?
Right.
Other than that, like, fucking hell, you go ahead and you get Becky Lynch first, whatever. I don't really care. It's agenda driven. I don't give a shit. Becky Lynch is on, like, the last leg of her big run in my mind. But everything else, like, it just didn't make sense. Nothing really made sense for this draft from the beginning of being like, we're going to have the WWE champion versus Roman Reigns for some reason. And then you've got fucking Bray Wyatt playing peekaboo from the ring and looking like cunt, like he just sucked his father's cock. I fucking hated that whole segment, man.
I did too. I did care for it. SmackDown then gets Roman Reigns. I'm gonna skip over one. Sasha Banks, Braun Strowman, Lacey Evans, The Revival, Lucha fucking House Party got drafted.
What in the fuck? So Lucha House Party was drafted before Brock Lesnar.
Yes. Heavy Machinery, and I know Becky Lynch was drafted. Why was she even drafted? She's a fucking champion on Raw. She's the Raw Women's fucking champion.
So
why in the fuck does she need to be drafted?
If you're a champion, this should have just been a straightforward draft. You're a champion. You're left out of the draft. You are on that brand because you're a champion.
Exactly.
Unless you decide to forfeit your title to be part of the draft. Make that announced immediately. Otherwise, the draft should just play out like any other fucking draft. I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, I don't understand what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
And then you have Stephanie on there and Rick Rush fucking and then you have these little graphics show up. I'm like, this is literally, if I went to that Raw, I would fucking throw shit on the stage because part of the Raw is just this asshole fucking when we rise for back. It's like, fuck off, man. At least have the wrestler come out and be in a match or do something. Fucking garbage, man. WWE, I hope they fucking die, man, because what they've done now is literally shit themselves. They have fucking dysentery because they can't stop shitting themselves.
And they still have Monday to go.
Oh.
I can't wait for that. Where Brock Lesnar with the 56th pick, we signed Brock Lesnar, the WWE champion.
So back to the picks: Heavy Machinery, Apollo Crews, Drew Gulak. He's going to SmackDown. Heath Slater, Tamina.
Oh shit! Hold the presses.
I want to read those.
Tamina.
And the B Team.
Dang it.
But like, who cares? Tamina hasn't been on TV for a long time. I hope I never see her again. I don't even know why she's still with the company. The B Team, they need to be changed.
They do. What were you going to say, Bob? Go ahead.
He wanted to read those.
I wanted to read those off.
Does it really matter?
I don't get much.
Well, you get a lot, but you don't respond half the time, so.
No shit.
I've been responding the whole time.
So,
his internet was going nuts earlier. I think that was one of the reasons.
So, I'm sorry, Bob. You didn't say that, otherwise I would have. You got to say this at the beginning of the show.
I did.
No, you didn't. Anyway.
Bullshit.
Oh, shut up. Get over yourself. Anyway.
I don't understand what I came back to.
It's okay.
I'll go back into my corner.
No, hold on, because I'm going to ask you what you think. What do you think of these picks? These supplemental picks or free agent picks or what? Because that's what they are. They're free agent picks. Are you going to answer me, Bob? Or are we going to pout? Okay. We were just talking about the draft.
Oh, gotcha.
I didn't know, Bob. I must have forgot. Sorry. I'm 50. Almost 50. I don't remember shit. I don't remember what I did 10 minutes ago. God damn. Fucking sue me. Anyway. What do you guys think of these supplemental? They're free agents anyway. I think. I
don't care. I'm looking at this draft and I think WWE's making the same mistake they've done 1,000 times. And I hope to God at some point in time they fucking suffer for it.
I agree. Hey, what's up, Cardinal? How's it going, man? How you doing? Thanks for being here.
Hi, Cardinal.
Hey, Cardinal.
So to Bobbit, I'm sorry. I apologize. Don't be mad. So let's talk real quick about with what happened with the show. And not much happened. It was mostly the draft, and I was getting drunk, so I really wasn't paying attention to the show. And then the end of the show happened. Let's talk about Bailey. I like what they did with her. I think, and I'm hoping, and I'm holding, not holding my bated breath, but I'm thinking that I was wrong, and that I think she can do this heel thing. It just as long as they keep doing what they did with her, what they did Friday night, I think she'll be fine. I love her haircut. I think it suits her, and I like what they did. They come out, started her music, and then she stopped, stood at the top of the ramp, and then fucking grabbed the scythe and just went apeshit on those Bailey buddies. Thank God they're fucking gone. That is all I got to fucking say. Go ahead.
For me, the like her going apeshit on the Bailey buddies was great at first, but I felt like it took a little too long, so it kind of drug it out a little bit.
Well, there is 6 of them fucking.
You know what I felt like?
She it was just like super uncomfortable because like she would take like these dramatic pauses where she was supposed to be like intense, but it just felt uncomfortable.
Well, I think she was. I don't mind it because, and I'll say this, and I do think that she got a new theme. I don't know what the theme is because I didn't hear it.
She did. I seen her new entrance.
We'll get into it here in a second.
Yeah.
With her doing that, she's fighting with herself as to should I really do this or should I not really?
I do too.
So I didn't mind her taking those pauses and just saying, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it." Now on each one, yeah, that kind of the first one I would have fucking been like, is she gonna do it? Is she not?
Also, what the fuck was she holding? It was literally.
It was like an axe.
No, it was not. It was a handle to an axe with razor blades attached to it.
Yeah, well, whatever.
But like.
No, come on, man. She made it in shop class.
But like,
it looked stupid as fuck to me, man.
That was my whole point, JP. Like, I just felt like if they would have had her do it to like 2 or even like 3 of them, just like, like kind of hesitate at first, but then just start bashing all of them, like simultaneously, it wouldn't have felt as uncomfortable as it did.
I think part of the uncomfortability comes from the soft launch for her becoming a heel. Like, I don't think she should have been involved in the Sasha Banks storyline at all. I think this should have just happened on her own. And I feel like that the fact that they half turned her, just to full turn her, kind of deflated it for me a little bit.
Yeah, I can agree with. Now, people are bitching because Charlotte's title reign was... The 10th reign was short.
Well, I don't really give a shit about.
Now,
this is the thing. The titles are dead anyway.
No, they are.
10 reigns and literally is in the company for 4 years. She's gonna hold it for 74 reigns by the time she retires. And she's also gonna be. She's also gonna be a fucking plastic.
I didn't mind that this one was short. I'm thinking the 9th one should have been longer.
I feel like the idea of like tracking title reigns as like an actual.
I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they track.
It's like the worth of the title reign more than is the reign itself. And I understand like tracking the amount of title reigns, but like they really sell that with Charlotte because they want to sell her father more than they want to sell her in that aspect. I just fucking hate it, man. 11 times, and even though she held 3 of them for 10 seconds.
Well, I think this title reign, and in all fairness, I think this title reign had more to do with Bailey than it did with Charlotte.
But I also feel like a title reign needs to have a limited... Like, you can't be a champion if you're only a champion for 2 weeks. I don't think you should even count.
Not only that, but like I feel... Not only was it to help push Bailey like turning heel, but I also feel like it was also to kind of help push the upcoming event in Saudi Arabia with her father. Like, it wasn't to push that, so to speak. It was just more like, oh, she's a Flair, you know?
But how does
The loser.
and I'm asking, I'm not trying to sound like a prick here. I'm gonna come off like one.
Yeah, it does make sense to me.
I'm literally asking a question. How does, because I didn't see Ric Flair at all.
No. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying that it's like necessarily. I think the wording was wrong. It's not necessarily to like push the fact that that's happening, but it's to kind of bring the Flair name back into the spotlight for the time being. But it was mostly for Bayley, like 100.
I think
I would say like about 95% of it was for Bayley.
Yeah, and she won the title back. They did this to Sasha 55 times.
Well, with Sasha, it was all because.
And I get that, but I'm just saying.
It just seems like really poor storytelling when, like,
it is.
You have her lose, then win it back because she's healed.
I will say that, like, her new entrance, I think, Bobbit, were you the one that put it in the chat, I think?
Yeah, it was.
But I don't know if anybody else got a chance to see it. But, like,
I know Heather watched it.
Basically, what they do is that they show, like, that old graphic that she used to have where it's like Bayley with like the smiley face cartoon thing, and then it fades, it like cuts off and it fades to black, and she comes out with everything is black except there's a spotlight on her and there's like hard rock music playing in the background.
That's racist, first of all.
No, like she basically comes out just like Ciampa did, except she has music going. Like when
I'm gonna say right now, there's 0% chance she's actually pulling off that character. She was okay in the moment, but she's gotta speak more than 4 words, and she's gonna be in trouble.
We'll see. Yeah, that's what I did say that if she comes out and cuts a 15-minute promo, it's.
I would have had the entrance being her walk out of a potato patch.
Bitches.
No. And she didn't say "What's up, bitches." She said, "Hey, bitches."
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the problem I have with that whole thing. I couldn't even hear or understand what she said at first. If I have to rewatch this or hear someone else telling me, it wasn't probably said very clear.
But that's the thing with Bayley in general. Like most of the time, her promos are very slurred together because she has that thing. You know when like people have like a lot of saliva in their mouth and so their words just kind of slur together.
Okay, so she should never speak publicly.
Did you notice on commentary?
No, I'm just
after.
Go ahead, Bobbit.
Well, did you notice on commentary after she said that there was even like, what did she say?
I didn't hear that. I didn't even listen to it.
I feel like though I like the fact that they turned her heel. I feel like this is like there was so much more opportunity with what happened than what was capitalized on. Though I do like the idea of turning her heel, and I hope to God she can pull it off, but I have my doubts. I just really hate the idea of that it's happening now, that they never capitalized on her as a face properly, and that they're doing it on the coattails of Sasha Banks. It's like she needed Sasha to turn heel for her to turn heel. It kind of, I don't know, man. I feel like they have a lot of apprehension when they look at Bayley.
I do. I get you. I'm with you. They do put the title back on them, though. So they must see something.
Well, there's something to be seen. I still think she's like a fierce competitor in ring, but she's just like so much of a potato farm. like it's a very like her face does not express emotion well.
No, it don't, and that's the problem. Yes, she looks angry all the time, but.
Well, she looks kind of sad all the time. I feel
that's better. She looks sad.
Reminds me more of it comes down to that constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Winnie. I guess I'll be.
Even when she's happy, she looks a little bit sad. She's just got sad eye formation.
I don't know. Like she needs to trigger like the inner hate within her, and I don't know if she has that.
No, I don't know if she has.
I'm going to give her
she
about
has so much
20%
love for this
chance of
business.
success.
She has so much love for this business, and you would think that growing up, like being a Macho Man fan, because Macho Man played both heel and face, so you would think that she would have like picked up on the fact that like
I think she was
she
a
had
fan
to
of his
develop that
colors.
character.
After watching certain things with her involved, I think she was a fan of his colors and his elbow drop. Like she doesn't seem like the sharpest tool in the shed, unfortunately. And it sounds bad for me to say, but I watched some things with her on YouTube and stuff, and she just like best match ever is like fucking Big Show breaking the ring.
And to be fair,
Okay,
the new
there,
outfit
Bailey.
she has is still a tribute to Macho Man because he wore black and gold in his match against Ric Flair.
Right. You know, but like, well, I guess what I'm saying is like the ring attire and everything else, her move and all that stuff, it fits Macho Man, but Macho Man also could pull off being a heel. So she needs to trigger something within her.
She needs to get angry.
The thing is,
exactly.
she's like, I'm Macho Man, except I have literally the opposite of charisma. She reminds me, and nobody's really going to get this, but she reminds me of like Ditto the Pokemon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just dead inside.
I know what you're talking about.
Like I just can't. I don't know, man. The thing is like, and I hate this. I like the idea of like triggering nostalgia, but I hate the idea of relying on nostalgia. Movies have done it for the last 10 years.
Right.
And wrestling has done it for the new age of like the women's revolution is like, I'm gonna base all of my character on Macho Man, on Eddie Guerrero. And it's like, okay, well, why don't you stop? Why don't you stop being Dolph Ziggler and be a character, not someone you idolize? You can get famous idolizing somebody, but you can only become a fucking superstar being yourself. So realize the difference and get to that.
I have to say, the one thing that I do admire Becky about is out of all of the four horsewomen, she's probably the one single person that kind of has her own thing going on, because, you know, Charlotte, she has her own thing. Don't get me wrong. She's amazing. But her ring gear was started out with her dad with the robe and all that stuff, you know, so she's very much Ric Flair.
Sasha Banks. Think about how close she is to Eddie Guerrero in general.
Exactly. Bailey, Macho Man, you know, Becky's really the only one that came out and I don't know. I mean, who would
they turned her into Stone Cold Steve Austin? So
yeah, they turned her into that. But what I'm saying is her character wasn't originally.
I actually liked her character a bit more. I know her character was like. The thing is, Becky Lynch is an awkward human being.
Yeah.
Which is why, and it I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it does not work well with being I'm the badass of the company.
But like her awkwardness is one of the reasons why I actually.
Yes, her awkwardness is what I actually love
because I
love about her character. But the thing is, it's hard to be what she's portraying and be who she actually is at the same time. Though she's doing an admirable job of pulling it off, it still sticks out to me. It's like, imagine an awkward Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I'd say probably, like, for me anyway, one of the best times that I seen Becky was when she was in that group with Paige and Charlotte. Forget what it was called, but
Casey.
Yeah,
I think this is still the best
to showcase
version.
her awkwardness while still playing the character. No, not the best version, but like the character that was most fitting for her, because she still showed her awkwardness, but yet she was part of the group.
Well, I mean, to be honest, she still shows her awkwardness now because I don't think she can help it. But I hate the comparison to Stone Cold Steve Austin. Can't you just be Becky Lynch? And I know, like, the man character got over before they tried to turn it into Stone Cold Steve Austin, which is what killed it. As soon as WWE gets their grubby paws on something and tries to turn it into something it didn't organically get over as, they turn it into shit.
the crazy thing is, if you think about Becky Lynch, the thing that got her over was having her fucking jaw broken by Nia Jax.
Yes.
Because, like, the image of her standing there in her SmackDown shirt, kind of basically being like, what?
I'm not saying she didn't deserve it, because she was kind of treated a little bit dirty since they all came up. Like, she didn't really get the push. She was more like, gonna come out there and dance around to steampunk bullshit. She dropped the steampunk thing entirely, which, I mean, she could have probably kept alive in some way, but I do not like the character they have her portraying now, because it's the type of character that's made to divide an audience, not unify one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. I don't know.
She can pull it off, but she can't pull it off.
I think Becky Lynch, if they would just, oh my God, Roman Reigns their Royal.
The worst thing that happened for her was her relationship with fucking Seth Rollins.
That's another
And I'm not
thing.
saying, like, if they're happy and everything, that's great for them. But, like, that's the worst thing that happened for the wrestling characters as a whole. When we existed through that 3 months of, like, excruciating pain of watching Seth Rollins, I'm the universe, you're my bitch, Seth Rollins. Basically, this is exactly what the storyline was. You bring your bitch, I'll bring mine. Like, he is the champion, man. Like, right. What in the literal fuck are you talking about?
Right. So, that being said, I mean, Gina, is there any NJPW news out there?
We've got King of Pro Wrestling happening actually tonight here in a couple of hours. It may actually be live now.
It might actually just be asleep.
It'll be coming on here within a couple of hours. But that's happening tonight. So that's really all the news I have, except for a really disturbing picture of Okada and Chaos in a bathtub naked.
Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty good. I don't understand.
What is the main event? What is the main event for that match?
It's actually Sonata versus Okada, and they have Kota Ibushi versus Evil for the what do you call it? The G1 title thing.
Oh,
yeah, it's for the briefcase.
That's right. Okay, yeah, I might check that out tomorrow when I get up with.
Man, yeah. I feel like New Japan has taken like 3 steps back for me, unfortunately.
They do, but I still like the wrestling because
I love the wrestling. It's just there's a lot I'm gonna have to watch of things I really don't care about to watch a match or two. I could watch a couple matches from New Japan, but
yeah, I know
it's unfortunate.
I'm not watching Raw. I'm actually watching Packer games.
I'm gonna have turkey and jack off continuously.
Well, sometimes that happens. I mean, sometimes
I hate you because you get turkey and I don't. So fuck off.
Sometimes you get turkey.
I'm gonna lather turkey all over my body while I jack off furiously.
You know, go to the grocery store down the street and buy some turkey or turkey cold cuts and make yourself turkey sandwich. Get turkey
that's literally gonna be it. That's gonna be super sad. I've got turkey too. It's
chilling with my turkey.
I had a turkey sandwich yesterday. It was freaking delicious.
Yeah, they are good when you have them, but it's not come on, man. A real full-on turkey, just chopped up to perfection. You put your dick inside of it.
Shut up! You're making me hungry, fucking asshole.
I guess you didn't hear the last thing I said.
I don't want a turkey with its dick inside of it, but I just want turkey.
It's a turdicken.
So let me get some final thoughts here. Gene, I know you had to step away. We talked about the draft. Do you know who's going where with what, where they are now?
I do. I do.
But do you care? Because I don't give a fuck.
I do not.
What are your well, now that we know you don't care, why don't you give us your thoughts?
I don't care.
Well, I mean, what is the real difference? Bray Wyatt's on SmackDown. That's all I took from that.
That's the one person. Actually, the Fiend Bray Wyatt is on SmackDown, so he is moving over to SmackDown. Period.
Okay, well, I can't wait to
I
not
heard
hear.
that it was contingent until the storyline with Seth is done.
I think
Well,
that's ending.
that you know what, you're adding a wrinkle to an already confusing fucking situation. Like if they actually said, well, it's contingent. This draft pick, which is your first, third, whatever, is contingent on him. What in the fuck?
He Seth Rollins. No.
Okay, so he's going to SmackDown, and that's where he'll die. And other than that, like, what the fuck? You had a bunch of like shit fiestas going on.
Ronnie actually put some Impact news in there, just real quick. Hopefully she'll be here soon. I know she's going through some.
Everything's going well for her, so she should be back by Friday.
So Impact's Bound for Glory is Sunday. Shamrock's match, Ken Shamrock is taking on Moose. I know you don't care, JP. Just wanted to add my 2 cents. I actually had it written down for you. I didn't know if you were joining, Ronnie, so I had it written down. Impact news.
Impact using another MMA guy.
Sure.
Yeah. And the WWE Nostalgia Act in the same space.
There you go.
I've always actually liked Ken Shamrock.
He was okay in WWE. I mean,
I liked him. I liked
him. As soon as I figured out who the fuck he was.
Keeping him at International.
But see, and that's
he was a bit overhyped.
We actually talked about that when people and their fucking why is WWE bringing in UFC on it for fucking years. And by the way, can I say this just real quick? Did you know that wrestling is a combat sport? Oh my god, UFC is a combat sport. Oh my god. So if they combine the two, it might add something to the content.
Well, and here's the thing. I personally think that by bringing in Brock Lesnar and possibly Cain Vasquez or whatever the fuck his name is. By bringing in those, we know that Brock's probably going to go to SmackDown. I mean, but let's say both of them end up on SmackDown. SmackDown is Fox, is very much a sport channel, so I feel like this is a good move on both Fox and WWE's, and even USA if they're on there, to mix those two together because you're going to draw fans from both sports, and it's going to bring in ratings.
And I'm telling you, bringing in the UFC history between the two of them into this storyline. So
yeah, and not only that, but it's basically it's good for wrestling in general because it's solidifying wrestling as a sport. Like, I know WWE is all about entertainment and everything, but wrestling is actually a fucking sport, and people seem to forget that.
It is.
Well, these are the people that complain about people that actually have legitimate fighting careers. I will say that I do not see that match between Velasquez and Brock ending in an honest decision.
No, I don't either.
I feel like it's gonna. I feel like either they're gonna give the win to Brock, either that, or it's going to end in them like double knockout or something like that.
It's gonna be some
fuckery for sure. But I do see Braun and Tyson Fury ending in an actual decision. Because I think they can't both not deliver on the both fucking bullshit things that they can on.
Sorry. I have a question though. Is this just like a one and done for Tyson Fury, or is he actually?
I believe it's a one and done since he's still a boxer.
And it'll be that scar under Brock's eye, and we talked about it. Scar under Brock's left eye, I think it is. Mm-hmm. That came from Cain Velasquez. That wrinkle.
Yeah, they mentioned it on SmackDown.
And they did exactly what they should have done. We talked about it. They needed to show. I don't care if it was still photos or actually show little bits and little video of the match. But I'm telling you, they needed to do this. in order to tell why is Brock Lesnar fearing Cain Velasquez, or why did Brock Lesnar react the way he did to Cain Velasquez? Why is Cain Velasquez coming after Brock Lesnar? Because and that's why.
Well, and not only that, but to add to what you said, Rey Mysterio actually mentioned that on SmackDown. Like he said at the end of his promo, he said that Cain Velasquez was going to give Brock Lesnar a scar on the other side of his cheek to match the other one.
Yep. And I actually like.
And Ronnie says they mentioned something else during the press conference.
Okay, the press conference is actually on the network, so I might have.
So I 100% guarantee that this match will end in DQ. Yeah. They'll beat each other up throughout the arena for a while, and then it'll be called as a DQ match earlier than that. They'll go around for 10 minutes beating each other in the fans and everywhere else, and then we'll probably get like a no DQ match.
They're going to go in the fans. Not in Saudi Arabia. I don't think they're going to be in the fans.
Oh God, it's in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, they're not going to fans. They don't need to go in the fans. They don't give a fuck where they go. The match will end in a DQ outside of the ring, is all I'm saying. And they will continue that for some time of beating the shit out of each other.
I think that it's going to end with Brock Lesnar getting frustrated and grabbing a chair or some shit like that and beating the living shit out of Cain Velasquez that way.
I don't think so. It doesn't make Cain Velasquez look strong enough for him to actually compete with Brock Lesnar again. I think it's going to end with them actually literally just getting DQ'd and both ending off an even ground where they both beat the fucking shit out of each other.
And that'll continue the storyline for Survivor Series as well.
I actually don't know if it's going to happen at Survivor Series. I prefer to continue till like Royal Rumble, but we'll see.
Yeah, regardless of which, it'll continue the storyline.
I agree.
And from what I have heard, Cain Velasquez is not a one and done. He signed a multi-year deal with WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I worry about his future too, just like I worry about Bray Wyatt. I don't see him beating Brock Lesnar, and if he does, what does he bring to the table that's better than Brock Lesnar bringing to the table?
No,
anybody else?
He's not winning for sure.
I have a question before we're all done. I have a question. Does anybody else see Ronda Rousey's husband possibly getting into the WWE at some point in time?
It's possible.
That's what they were dropping hints at.
It's possible. I haven't heard enough to understand the truth.
Because he's actually already
coming back
involved in like altercations and shit in the audience. Yeah. And actually, like all that shit that went down with Bret Hart at the Hall of Fame, like Travis was actually the one that fucking took the guy down.
Oh, right. Whoever should have tackled Bret Hart anyway. I'm sorry.
I'm not a Bret Hart fan either, but I don't want to see the poor old man get hurt.
It's only a hill. But anyway.
But with him, he's already had 2 strokes. Another attack that Jack can give him a 3rd.
Exactly.
Let him start in different strokes.
So with that being said, go ahead, Gina.
Go ahead. No, I just said, oh my God, the basement.
Okay.
Nothing new.
All right. Bobbit, do you got anything you'd like to add?
Just one thing. I like to do the picks next week, if that's okay.
Oh, no. Just remind me before we start the show.
Okay.
All right. Tina, anything you'd like to add?
I just want to say it is a really, really good time to be a wrestling fan, and stop bitching about everything and just enjoy it for a little while.
I'm going to caveat that just real quick. And I agree with Gina 100%. Just enjoy the wrestling. We can debate it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like stop bitching altogether, but
because
yeah, exactly.
All of you fucking people that want to be toxic about fucking AEW and WWE, you are going to kill the fun for all of us. And then they're going to go back, and it's just going to turn it. It's already a big giant shit show. Can we stop with the bullshit?
Well,
let people enjoy what they want to fucking enjoy. I don't give a fuck about fucking ratings. I don't give a fuck what Cody does. I don't care what Seth Rollins does. If all they are there to fucking do is entertain me. That is it. I don't give a fuck what they do in their fucking free time. I don't care.
Well, and I know I myself have been guilty of this in the past or even currently, but stop. Just before you go ahead with the knee-jerk reactions on Twitter, stop and think about it and think about, did you enjoy the wrestling? Forget the storyline part of it for a second. Did you enjoy the wrestling?
Forget the
because
promotion.
the storyline, you have to give them time, no matter what promotion it is, you have to give them time to explain it. Now, don't do the knee-jerk reaction and be like, fuck this company, blah, blah, blah. Give them a couple weeks. If they don't explain it, then get angry, okay? But stop with the fucking knee-jerk reactions. Just enjoy what you're watching for 5 fucking seconds.
I agree.
I hate everything!
I knew you.
I'm jerking my knees off right now.
Basement? What about you?
Yeah? Yeah, everybody get angry. The truth of the matter is everything sucks. Wrestling will never be what you want it to be because you realistically want it to be something it can never be. They, suck my dick and eat cum.
I did see that on Twitter there, Ronnie, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna fucking clickbait that shit. Fuck that.
And the
Apparently
thing is,
Nikki Bella revealed her sex life.
Yeah.
What is her sex life with her boyfriend?
They have a safe word, which is her boyfriend's last name.
And her boyfriend's last name is Keep Going.
I don't know. His first name is Asham or something like that.
Artemis.
It's safe word. Anyway.
What? Her first? What the fuck? Her boyfriend's first name is Asham?
No,
well, I mean,
Artemis.
That is
Heather, what is it?
It's Artemis.
Artemis. There you go.
Okay, well that's kind of on the nose.
And he has like a really fucked up last name too. So I don't.
Last name is.
I don't know.
Safe word.
It's called Artemis Safe Word.
Oh,
you're gonna be in problems. You have something this.
Hold on.
I'm being a smart ass. We'll come back to it. Frank, what about you? Yeah, anything else?
I don't want to come back to it, to be honest.
The only thing I heard about was that Hogan is saying that he wants to have one more match with Vince.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see that.
I don't want to see that because they're both 60s and 70s, and I'm like, Hogan could barely even.
You know what, man?
Vince is creeping up on 80, isn't he?
No,
Yeah,
he's
he's
74.
Okay.
When they first fought, they did they bled a lot.
They beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, right.
It was a decent match when they first fought. I remember that one, and I don't say that about many matches.
You know what? I'm okay with them fighting as long as they both die in the ring together.
Well, did you hear he ripped on Impact 3? He goes, I can't stand my last match in Impact being against Sting. He said something like that. I'm like, that last match was not horrible. So the fact I'm sorry, but anything with him is just gonna suck.
His last match have been against The Rock.
No, they should do Hulk Hogan versus Vince McMahon in a ring with all the black wrestlers dancing around the fucking ring.
Oh my god!
I think he's good.
It's equally racist for everybody.
So he has a pipe in his back, so he's gonna take out the pipe and hit Vince with it.
Why is a pipe in his back?
From back surgery.
Here, shut up,
Trey. Back surgeries.
Oh my god.
No, I'm not.
You are like dad joke enhanced. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Think of dad joke evolved as a Pokemon.
Okay, we got it. You're not funny. So
his name
is short joke.
His name is DJ. Remember DJ?
Okay, so Heather gets. I'm gonna give Heather's the final word.
Nikki Bella's boyfriend's name's Artem Chigvintsev or something like that.
Yeah, imagine screaming out that fucking last name during sex.
Fuck me, Chigvintsev. Ah, you're so deep inside it, Chigvintsev. Artem. His name is Artem Chigvintsev.
Something like that. I don't know.
Oh, God.
Type it in the Yahoo.
Fucking stop to keep it down.
Well, I mean, if you had to listen to fucking John Cena going, everybody is special, everything is great. I would literally want to block him for just things he says because he's literally he's a walking self-help book.
Vladimirovich Chigvit.
Okay, well, I literally don't care if it's live or dead.
It's in the YouTube chat there,
It's
basically.
in the chat.
But John Cena, is he a walking self-help book? And can you stop listening to him? Yes.
He's a dancer.
So
right. Take off your shoes when you listen to my self-help. Fucking weirdo, man. I'll give that 100%.
So, is there anything that anybody else would like to say? Heather, you got anything else you'd like to add?
Honestly, it's just everybody's sitting there. You have to pick a side. You have to pick a side.
I have heard
Fuck
that.
you.
No, I ain't got to pick a side, and I ain't going to pick a side.
Wait a second. She stopped having sex with John Cena to go fuck the alphabet?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
She stopped having sex with John Cena because she wanted kids and he didn't.
And he's like, shoes! Shoes, bitch! I only care about kids when they're close to death.
Oh, no, that's...
Put on your fucking booties, bitch.
It's like,
We're going. I wonder what John Cena would say about Matt Riddle.
In order to have kids with Nikki Bella, she had to be like on the Make-A-Wish list.
Oh my god.
We're screwed. We really are going to hell.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Use a coaster. That Johnny just put in the chat. Use a coaster with that wine glass. Bitch. No, I'm just kidding.
But don't look at me. My hair's great.
So that being said, we're going to end the show here. I want to thank everybody for showing up. We'll have more news.
Basement house rules.
I feel like JP needs to grow that John Cena hair and start worshiping Satan.
I wish I could grow that. Grow
you can
John
grow it,
Cena
man.
hair.
He did it. Fuck it. You can do it.
Don't forget, folks.
I can't grow that. I can't do it.
John Cena has Bosley Hair Club for men.
I can't grow hair like
that. You can Bosley. You just have to worship Satan first.
Maybe.
Also, find a bunch of
And you also have
kids.
to have a fucking list of house rules that is like defined.
I do
like
have
that.
a list of house rules. Heather cannot walk around the house
ever
unless he's walking on air.
What?
I was expecting you to sit there and say that unless she's naked.
You walk around naked.
I thought that's what they do. Oh.
I don't care.
Don't forget, folks, no show tomorrow night because the Packers are on.
And JP's going to be going to the sick kids hospital to talk to them so he can regrow his hair.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, Trek, thanks for stealing my thunder, you fucking asshole.
I don't know what the fuck you were saying. Walking on air and shit. What do you want from me?
So, yeah, we're not going to be doing a show tomorrow night, but we will be keeping track of I will be flipping back and forth, making sure that what's going on. Bobbit.
Yes.
Make sure you write down who got drafted where as Gina is rolling her cigarettes.
I will. I'm going to be watching the Packer game too, but I'm going to do what you're doing. Flipping back and forth.
Okay. So, that being said, we will end the stream here.
That should be your entrance music. I'm here, bitches!
So, with that being said, everyone have a great night, and we will talk to you on Friday.
No, Tuesday.
Tuesday for Sideline Study Podcast.
Why am I looking at my wrist like I have a watch? Like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Everybody have a great night. We'll talk to you on Tuesday. Bye.
Assalamu alaikum.
What? Awesome.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, you sounded like Schwarzenegger trying to speak fucking